Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
As the agent for Peyton Ansley, John Milton, you are indicating to me that you're quite familiar with Peyton Ansley, John Milton, and that's basically you. Is that correct?
I am the agent authorized to represent Peyton Ansley, John Milton, as written in all capital letters.
All right, and you understand for my purposes, though that language doesn't make any sense. So
No, I do not.
I understand. Okay, well, I'm telling you that, and so I am. Until you disabuse me of the motion or the notion, I am inclined to believe you are both the agent and the person. So. And it's an
I'm
all
not a
caps.
person. I am one of the people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not a person. I'm one of the people. Thank you. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. It's wonderful to have you all here today. Wow, this is quiet. What's wrong with my test 1 2 check. Levels look good. All right, if you guys can hear me, that's a thumbs up for you guys. I appreciate that. Good enough. It's good enough, right? All right. Good morning. I think the music's just a little loud. That's all. No, it's definitely my headphones are off. Test 1 2 test. Oh, that doesn't work. Check 1 2 check. Ooh, that does. That makes it hot. That makes it spicy. I found the right knob. 6 volt. I found it. It's this one. It's this one right here. I need to turn to make me louder. Don't let me forget. You guys, welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I'm the Recovery Addict. Thank you, everyone, for taking a seat. We're gonna get kicked off. Is this too loud now? Is this too loud? I think it's too loud. Somebody said, I want to know who won. I can tell you who won. Carmen Does Stuff won this morning. Congratulations, Carmen. You were first in chat, and you're in the wrong spot. It's not your fault, but I'm calling you out because you are in the wrong spot. So I'm going to move you to right here. There you go. See, it was a gentle move. You almost didn't notice. There was any motion. What games do a kid play? Picky, they love Minecraft.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting.
Who won?
I don't know who won.
She doesn't know who won. The game the kids play, they love playing Minecraft, and it's like something pixel, like Mad Pixel or Giant Megapixel. I don't know what it is, but it's a version of Minecraft. It's like a game within a game, because Minecraft is a game where you can create and build and interact with this world of square blocks. It's just everything's a block, right? And within that game, people build games that are run on servers, and they can then interact, and they set the rules for the game. So they play a game within a game, and they play it on this screen right here, and they mess up my audio, and they mess up where my lights and mics are, so that it takes up extra space that it shouldn't. They do all these things.
Have them send someone with more experience.
And they're going to make that fall off if they're not careful. All right, there we go. So that's out of the way. This is good.
Is that correct?
Let's see. What Carmen Does Stuff. First in chat, Carmen, you won. You've won before, but you've now won again. This makes you a repeat offender. We're going to go ahead and put this on your permanent record. Being first in chat, we're punishing you with internet ownership for the rest of the day. Everything IP-related worldwide is now your responsibility to maintain. It doesn't mean you can sell it. Doesn't mean you can turn it off. You have to just fix it and keep it running. So, Carmen, good luck with that today. I think you're going to do a great job because you've done it before. Appreciate you being first in chat. Good morning, Lego My Briefs. Good to have you here. We have a couple things happening today. First of all, I will say this. It is a slow day in the world of true crime. As far as the big trials go, there's the Troconis trial is off till Tuesday. I know the Adam Montgomery one is going on. We're not following that one here. I do apologize. I've made that pretty clear that we're not going to jump to that one. There are some other channels to watch it. I realize they are not me, and so I can't make them have better audio. I also can't make them have the amazing community we have here in chat. So I apologize. There are some other places to watch that, though, if that's the trial you want to follow. I have some news, and I guess now it's official because they've released information. I guess the judge in the texting case, when she found out that, I can only assume that it was when she found out that we were going to follow the trial, she thought better of it. and she has now resigned from her position. Resigning from her position accomplishes the end goal that the case was brought about for, and that was to get her to no longer be a judge. And because she's resigned from her position now, the case will be dropped. There will be no texting judge case starting next week because of this. And as a final little, I don't know, what do you call it when you flip someone the bird? Yeah, as a final flip off, I think it seems to me that the texting judge submitted a list of all the potential witnesses with what she thought they were going to say, and included all their addresses and phone numbers in a public document and just doxed everybody. And then she resigned. And so there will be no case. So it is sad news for us, because that was one that was, we were really, really excited to watch. But this happens sometimes at the very last minute. Somebody will take a plea deal. So, in this case, she resigned from her judgeship. And she's out. We do have Sarah Boone today, Richard. Yes, we have Sarah Boone. Well, not necessarily Sarah Boone. We have Sarah Boone's lawyer. I honestly don't think.
Sent me a video of roaches fighting.
Who won?
I don't know who won.
Still doesn't know. I honestly don't think Sarah Boone will be there. I know she said she wants to be there. I want to be at all my hearings. It's in all her letters. She's told the judge, I request to be present. It's my right. It is her right. I still don't think she'll be there. Because this the hearing today in Sarah Boone's case is not really about her so much as it's about her lawyer, who wants off the case and wants to be done, wants it to be over and done with. So let's see, that could happen anytime, starting in about 6 minutes through who knows when. So for those of you who are got your ear to the ground to the courts down there in Orange County, Florida, let us know when you hear there's motion, because it's going to happen quick. There's a good chance we won't see this until after it's done, quite literally. This is the lawyer has basically, Mr. Hobson has basically just inserted himself in the judge's docket and said, look, judge, I want off. I'm showing up in court, and I'm going to keep my hand up until you call me, and we're going to talk this over. The judge does not have to let him go. As a matter of fact, there are many reasons. I can think of like 6 other ones why the judge does not want to let this lawyer off the case. But he says we've got irreconcilable differences, Sarah Boone, even ethical issues that have come up. But we just cannot work together on the same team, which has been something that we've heard before from other lawyers on Sarah Boone's case. OG Sean White says, I've been up since 5 a.m. waiting for you. I'm sorry. LOL. I'm 3 hours into my drive to New Jersey for a 30-minute survey just to drive 4 hours home. I love watching you. That is one heck of a survey, Sean. Wow, it must be a good one. I hope they give you like a cookie or a free pop or something for going up there. That's a 7 hours of driving just for that. Okay. Oh, I see it. We did, Sharon. Thank you very much, by the way, Sharon. Thank you for for assembling the birthday wishes. We'll get that done here right now. Lunch will come soon enough. Let's see. We're singing to Karen, who's 48, Orion, Wallflower, Bandit, a dog who's 8 years old today. Congratulations, Bandit. All birthday today. We're also going to sing to Jenna, who has a birthday tomorrow, and just Reverend Beasy and Ode Marie, both gifted memberships, and good morning to JB. Sharon, you fit everything in one comment. Congratulations, Reverend Beasy, or thank you, Reverend Beasy and Ode Marie, for gifting memberships. Jenna, we're going to sing to you with the others as if it was your birthday today. Everyone, please join with me in singing happy birthday to those who are celebrating today. We're super excited that this is their special day, and we want to let them know through song. So, warm up with me. La 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 la. There we go. Everybody together. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Karen, Orion, Wallflower, and Bandit. Happy birthday to you. Uh-oh. We forgot Jenna. I was so busy trying to click on things. Not only did I not do the low part, I sang the harmony, and I forgot Jenna. So now we just have to sing verse 2 just for Jenna, which is okay because her birthday's tomorrow anyway. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jenna. Happy birthday to you. Jenna, I don't think anyone has ever had a solo birthday verse on a day that was shared with someone else's birthday. That is a first for the channel. I can't begin to tell you how special that is. Hopefully you have a wonderful birthday tomorrow. Karen, Orion, Wallflower, and what a good boy, Bandit, dog who's 8 years old today, and Jenna tomorrow. Have a wonderful birthday. Thank you very much for spending your special day with us instead of going to Denny's and getting your free pancakes. All right, that over with. We're going to go ahead and move on. Someone's asking, what about Sarah Boone? What time is Sarah Boone? Says Tipsy Tracy. Here's the thing. Tipsy Tracy, on the record, it shows that I think it's going to be courtroom 12C on the 12th floor of the courthouse down there in Orange County, and at 9 a.m. But everything on the docket this morning shows up at 9 a.m. So I don't know when it's going to be handled. We might have like 2 hours of little tiny appearances and motions and continuances and guilty pleas and arraignments. We might have all these other things handled in there, and then right in the middle of it, they just call Sarah Boone, and that case is up, and Mr. Hobson gets up and rants and raves and says everything he can without breaching the trust that's instilled in him by his client, attorney-client privilege, and then we see what the judge says, and the judge might not even make the answer. He might not even make the decision right now. So we don't know. We're hoping that something happens. Mandy, the best bet right here is for those that are in the area in Orange County. This will most likely only be covered live by a couple television stations right in the area. So WFLA maybe. I'm thinking we might try to keep an eye on WFLA. Is there any other news station in the area? I don't know. If you're local there, call out some news channels, and we'll see if we can have a couple people keep an eye out. He wants to make the decision. Sorry, Fela. I'm thinking really fast, and I'm talking really slowly. That's what happens. Or talking fast and thinking slowly is probably more appropriate. Paula Mac's package. I was supposed to open this. She had asked me to open this on the air. Let me tell you what I have here. I have a little note that says, a gift from you. And I have this note because my kids are very good at opening packages, but they're not as good about waiting until it's the appropriate time to open the package. So I have the note from inside the package, which says, a gift for you. Enjoy the yodeling pickle. I know the little RAs will take it from you, but hope Jen doesn't hate us for it. From Paula Mac and Kari H. Yes, I don't know where it is. It has been running all over the house. I'm not sure if you know this, Paula and Carrie, but the pickle, it's a dancing, singing pickle, okay, and it's in a little pop can, but it's all soft, okay, and the pickle, it would help if I probably had it here to show you, but the kids have literally they won't let it go. So it's a pickle, and it's sort of like wiggles, and it has a little motor, it has little lights, and it has speaker, and it sings and dances, and not just that, it repeats everything it hears like 2 octaves higher. So if it went beep, 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 back door, it would go beep, 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 back door. It does that. And it's like it parrots everything it hears. And my kids think it's absolutely hilarious that this thing just repeats everything it hears and dances and sings, and it has all the songs on it. I don't know where they put it. I'm not sure if they will give it back to me. But Paula Mack and Carrie, I will tell you, Mrs. R.A. is not a fan. Is not a fan. The kids are, and this is I have seen one of these before that took batteries, and it's really cool. This one's like rechargeable. It's got built-in batteries, so you never have to go to the store and get batteries for it. You just plug it in, and it's good to go again. They have a blast with it. I'm pretty sure at some point they took it out to torment my cat with it by trying to get the cat to meow at it, so it will meow back at it. I don't know how successful they were with that, but I don't know. Whatever they did with the cat, it seemed to have riled the cat up enough that it's now hunting living little creatures and killing the little lizards that live in the bushes and the grass around our house. So I'm not sure if the pickle had anything to do with that. 6-volt bus.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who won.
Don't know who won. 6-volt bus. Thank you very much for your continued support. That orange courthouse, which blends in quite nicely right here. But I'll move it over so you guys can see. Let's put it right down here. There it is. There's the Orange Courthouse. Thank you, good friend, good mod, amazing friend of the channel. Thank you for your support. All right, so where are we? Cats are scared of cucumbers. Not this one. I mean, this is not a cucumber. It's like it looks more like a single-stemmed cactus in a flower pot. It's probably the best thing. Check the road for a run-over pickle. My son has that as a cactus. I hate it. So 100% with Mrs. R.A. My cat is a serial killer, very much so. All right,
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
I think the first thing we're trying to do is find Sarah Boone's hearing. That's going to be our pressing matters, because it should start about, I don't know, right now ish. So I'm gonna put some feelers out right now on a couple locations that tend to have stuff like that. Let's see. Anything today? I'm not seeing anything. Oh, helps if I spell it right.
I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat. No results from today. Nobody has anything up today on Sarah Boone. According to Woo, member for 9 months. Did you see the new documentary coming out about Nickelodeon? I have not. Not at all. I didn't know that was on the radar at all. All right. Today's the 3-year anniversary of I'm Not a Cat, Carrie Bear. There we go. That's why we have the audio. That's amazing. 3 years. I guess that happened during the the whole boom, the Zoom boom. All right. Did you try Florida Virtual Courtroom Directory? Tracy, I'll check that here, but it's going to be the courtroom itself doesn't live stream. Okay. This is a new judge. I realize it's like Wiseneck or something instead of the other one, Wooten. Wooten's off. It's a new judge, so we haven't really seen much from this judge. But to my knowledge, he does not live stream his courts.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting. I don't know who won.
Florida Virtual. I'll look and see if I can find this here. It's going to be Orange County. Why is it not working?
Have them send someone with more experience.
We need somebody with more experience for sure.
When are we going to break for lunch?
When are we going to break for lunch? Not yet. Not yet. We've got so much stuff to talk about. Be patient, guys. Be patient. Why can I not find Orange? Oh, there it is. It's highlighted on the map. That's why I can't see it. Anything live? We've got initial appearances with Ninth Circuit. What?
Is that correct?
I'm not seeing it there. I don't think it's Ninth Circuit. Does anybody know off the top of their head? Let me check. We'll head back down to Florida really quickly and check the court records. Let's see. This shows it is Attorney Hobson.
When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?
Wait, guys. Where's the court it's going to be in? Okay, motion to withdraw. Oh, now it's going to make me log in again because it's cool like that.
I'm not a camel.
I'm not a camel. Division 20. Division 20 is what it should be, right? You guys probably said this in chat like 100 times and I was not paying attention. It's 12A Orlando, but I need to know what division, like judicial circuit. And I'm just not seeing anything. Are these really live? It was 19 hours ago. That's not live. There's nothing, guys. I'm completely I've got nothing. I think it's going to be a better bet to try to find maybe like a WFLA or something similar to that. It's News 8. Yeah, we might have to catch it on the delay. It might not even be live from the courtroom. Debbie, yes, we did see that Paula Belmonte passed away. That was very sad. Okay, here for the roll call says we did roll call yesterday. We had just a few people in house, and that was wonderful. We were able to do a quick roll call. Did you get Judge Boyd's soundbite from yesterday about the accommodations? No, I did not, Angelique. I am super busy right now, trying to line up an equipment list for a gig that I have coming up. Not this weekend, but next. It's during my off time, guys. Don't worry. It's not during this, but I'm taking all my equipment, virtually everything, and it'll be a test similar to how courts work. Do you guys want to know what I'm taking? I've just started the list. We've got a PTZ camera, controller, large tripod, a PoE switch with power cables, SDI cables, SDI to HDMI adapters, many short HDMI cables, 5 short Ethernet cables, 1 long, that's 100 feet, a camera remote control, Sony camera with a power cable, another tripod, a micro HDMI to HDMI converter cable, an ATEM switch with power supply, more HDMI cables, 2 small TVs with power cables, a 1x2 HDMI splitter, more HDMI cables, 2 HDMI transmitter receiver units with HDMI cables and power cables, HDMI splitter, that's a 1x4, computers, the BMD replay for lyrics, Rodecaster Pro, all 4 audio cables, headphones, dual 1/4 inch to XLR adapter cables, have to be balanced, crab box for tuning out noise, Sennheiser wireless mics with receivers and power supplies, Shure wireless mics with receivers and power supplies, mic stands, power strips, extension cords. I haven't completed the list. I still need gaff tape and a bunch of other things there, and a ton of AA batteries. But I have to make a list and box it all up. All the fun stuff. I have every toy I'm taking. I need the gaff tape for sure. I'm probably going to need close to 100 yards of 3-inch gaff tape. And then I need to fit it all in the back of my car and drive it in there. I don't have something to carry it in, so I'm going to go pick up those big, those totes that are black on the bottom, have the yellow like industrial strength lids. I need like 3 of those. John, Sarah is this morning, but we don't know if we're going to have a live feed of that. It's almost like karaoke. It's a convention. It's a convention I'm doing all the audio video for. And so I'm running like the cameras inside there, the big screen. I'm running the cameras. I'm running the feed out to the hallways, like the people that are wandering around the halls. Their TVs out by the bathrooms, everything, so people can still watch. All that, all the mics, the little monitors for the people that are up on stage so they can see themselves. I need a million Pelican cases. I only have 1, and that's for my Rodecaster. All right, I'm not seeing anybody. I need a U-Haul as well. Yes, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anyone that's found anything about Sarah Boone yet, and this could be like, even though it says 9 o'clock, it could be 11. It could be 11:30. Synth says, "Dang it! I could have gone to that hearing." You might still be able to make it, Synth. I just don't know when it's going to start. Let's see. Sounds like you need a roadie. I am hiring a guy to come help load gear and run some of the gear, some of the less important gear. RA, say Orange County Courtney, 12 a.m. around 9 a.m. Honorable Michael Kranick. Yes, Kranick's the judge. That it says 9 a.m., but all his court cases on his docket this morning say 9 a.m. So they tell everyone to be there at 9 a.m. It's the worst. It's worse than a doctor's office, right? Doctor's office, you have an appointment, you go there on time, you sit there and you wait. Well, first you're 15 minutes early, and then you sit there and wait for 45 minutes, and then they call you in.
Somebody sent me a video of roaches fighting. I don't know who won.
I don't know who won. But here in court, you have to be there on time at 9 a.m., and then they don't call you for hours. And if you're not there, it's a bench warrant. So can you apply to be the roadie? I've already got the guy picked out. I've used him before, so he understands what I'm doing. I'm literally 10 minutes from the courthouse and 5 minutes from the jail. Synth, you can make it. You can make it. We would love it if I mean, here's the downside. Here's the downside. You might be sitting there for a couple hours in court, but the upside is you'll have the best view in the house, and you will know immediately. I don't know what the court rules are about using like cell phones, even texting in court, so I'm not sure if that would work. Melissa, I did get the package from the post office yesterday. My kids have run off with the contents of the package. I just have the note from Paula Mack and Carrie H. that commemorates the fact that, yes, they did send me something that makes a lot of noise and the kids love. It's a singing, dancing pickle that repeats everything it hears. Have you got a trip to Cape Town planned in November this year? Need someone to stream and record our wedding. I have trust issues, says Vicky. I have not filmed a wedding in a long time. I used to do that. I used to be a wedding videographer. We had one. I'm pretty sure nobody who was there is listening right now. We had one wedding I went to that the mother of the bride had her idea of what she wanted included in the film, and so she had all these ideas in her head, but she didn't tell me, right, as the videographer. So I'm trying to get all the details and the schedule of what's going to happen, so we can get all the important parts, the bouquet and the cutting the cake and all those. We get all that, right? The first dance, the dance with the dad. We got all that, and guests and funny advice. The video was awesome. But there was other things she wanted in that she would just come and grab me and be like, "Oh, come feel this. I want this in the video." And so I was constantly being like grabbed by my neck and dragged around at the video, at the wedding reception, and so she's like, "Oh, come. It was fairly early on, and I'm trying to film some of like just the decorations while the lighting's good during the golden hour and things like that. She's like, "Come in here. We need a shot of her with all her like bridesmaids, just getting all dolled up just for it." And so she's like, "Wait right here, wait." And so we're going. It's a huge house. Okay, it's like a museum. It's massive, and she's in this through the, like, I guess it was, now I know it was like the master bedroom, and she was on the master bath, which is a huge walk-in bathroom with all her girls with her. And she's like, wait, let me go check and make sure everything's ready. And I'm like, all right, I'll wait. And so I'm sitting there, and she's like, okay, so start recording. And then she's like grabbing my shoulders. She's like steering me in front. And so I come around the corner, and I'm filming as I pan in. And so I've got like the mirror, and there's the bride in her underwear. And it's her like wedding underwear. And the mom's like, yes, we're getting the shot. I'm like, what? My wife helps me edit these. What are you? It was, oh my goodness. Yeah. She was not already. It was, oh my goodness. And that was one of the last weddings I filmed. Oh man. And I can tell you some of the advice we got from guests at that wedding made me blush. And they were from sweet little ladies that had years of experience and gave detailed advice. And that's one of the things they wanted. They wanted all the guests to give advice, marriage advice from at the reception. Anyway, yes, it was a little bit awkward, just a wee bit awkward. So when you say, "Are you available to film my wedding?" That's what comes to mind, Vicky. I apologize. I've got to take a hard pass now. I'm not sure if I can handle that anymore. All right. Yes, Reverend Beasy, you can relate. You can relate now. That's where we were. All right. So why are we talking about that? Oh, I don't know. Let's go back to court here. I apologize. A little distraction, a little story. Okay, we have. If I can have anyone who's down in the Florida area or who is familiar with some of those news stations that are down in that area, that can sort of just poke around and watch for that. Also, if you're on Twitter, just keep your ear to the ground, just to see if we get something on Sarah Boone, because I think that's going to be a big decision. Mostly because if the judge allows her newest lawyer, or lawyer number 7, to abscond, I don't know what's a better word for that, to flee, to run for the hills in this case, it's going to push the court case. And I know it says in the records that this is the last time we're pushing the date out. But with a brand new lawyer, you just cannot force a brand new lawyer to be ready in less time. It doesn't work. Denise Dominguez, thank you with the salt. We've got all the salt. Thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that. It's a super chat. I guess it's a super chat, super sticker. Is that what it is? I should know by now. Don't know about video, but that is very much a trend in wedding photography, says Beautiful Messy Ball. I was not expecting that. And part of the reason is these people were my neighbors. I knew them before the wedding. Okay? Like we running into each other on the walk in the jogging trail. It was, yeah. My kids throw rocks into their fish pond. Yes, it makes it worse because now, like, every time, I mean, we're still friends on Facebook. Every time we see each other, I just have to, like, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Let's see. Fela says, I think Sarah Boone is asking, or Fala. Is it Fela or Fala? I think Sarah Boone is asking them to say or do something in her defense that is unethical for the lawyers. I do wonder what that is. What the unethical thing,
with more experience,
aside from possibly them asserting a defense that they know is factually incorrect. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that could be. I honestly think the biggest thing is that they have a difference of opinion as to her testifying in court. I think that Sarah Boone will 100% testify in court. I think I made a bet with somebody about a mug that she will testify in her defense if this goes to trial. And I think that anything she says when she testifies in her defense is literally going to undermine the efforts of her own lawyer. Like, she will throw her lawyer under the bus. She'll be sitting there throughout all of court as the lawyer does all his work, and then when it's her time to get up, she literally will say, that's not what I want him to say. This is the truth. I think that's what the situation is. All right. She could be trying to convince the lawyer to talk about jury nullification. Oh, that would be quite interesting. What would the judge do? You have a right to testify in your own defense. What would the judge do if you got up and did that? Is that not what Darrell Brooks attempted to do? I think he got shut down in his comments to the jury when he was telling his story. Tanya, you made it for another live. Congratulations. Good to have you here. Maybe Sarah Boone could get Darrell Brooks as her attorney. That probably won't work much better than what she has right now. Maybe she wants the lawyers to demonstrate getting in a suitcase. She's like, I promise I'll unzip it. Under the bus equals in a suitcase. It's all the same to Sarah Boone. At this rate, Koberger and Boone will be in the same year. Josh, I think we haven't seen a ruling yet on the Koberger, but I'm pretty sure that the soonest we'll see anything is now, I would say, March of 2025 in Koberger. So we're just over a year out for Koberger. Did anyone see if is it Judge in the Koberger trial? I think that's him. He's supposed to come out with a ruling about that. Can you imagine BK and Sarah Boone at the same time? No, that would be awesome. Well, no, it would be awful. It would be awful, Katia, because we need to focus our attention wholly on each one. BK is going to be huge. I do think that there is zero chance that he changes his plea and goes guilty. I think we're gonna have a full trial on that one. He's gonna fight it till the very end, and it's gonna be incredible. We're gonna need the abilities of Brandy Churchwell for charting, because we've got cell phone tower issues. We have timestamps. We have security camera footage with timestamps, and usually all those are messed up. So we're gonna have to do a time date shift to match everything up and put all the pieces together. I honestly think that with the sleuthing capabilities that the true crime community has in the BK case, there's a very good chance that the location of the murder weapon could be discovered. That's a bold statement, but I think it's possible. I think it's possible. All right. Brandy could ace that. She would do so good. She would do so good at that. I think she's got it on her radar. She's planning. 2025 will be a lit year. It's going to be a long, long trial. How long did they say the case was going to go? Did they say 12 weeks or something? It's going to be incredibly, incredibly long. Sarah Boone, on the other hand, as much as we've talked about Sarah Boone, it's probably only going to be a week-long case. The exception to that would be if they bring in a lot of experts that try to prove a good defense. That might take some time. All right, Mandy Strong says, if there's ever a real trial date set for Sarah Boone, I'm going. I live just an hour away. Mandy, there is a date set, but it's just not going to hold. That's the only problem. Let's see. I'm cutting the text here. My burner phone is so slow now. It's just like the spinning wheel. I might need to upgrade it. Okay. Hang on. BG, whose son had a birthday yesterday. I'm just gonna show this on my phone instead of transfer it over. But she just wants to share. You have to. Nope, that wasn't it. Hang on. We're getting there. There we go. She wants to share where she's watching from, which is. It didn't work nearly as well as I thought it would. It's a beautiful beach. It looks calm. The sky is calm. You just got some seagulls out there. BG, I'm jealous. Where is that? That's Inglewood Beach in Florida. So that's get good reception. She's watching from there. Thanks, BG, and happy birthday to your son Josh yesterday. All right, we have Sharon says check mod chat. Sharon is amazing at some of the stuff she does for us here. Might have a small trial going on right now. Okay. Let me see if we can pull up this court case. Well, we're waiting for Sarah Boone. Let's see if this is one we can.
When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?
Currently in the third grade, Your Honor.
Hang on. Oh, they don't. This says a do not record. This is Kevin Keys versus Nicole Welchner. They don't want us to use this one.
I'm not a cat.
Bummer. This was the Herndon 52nd Circuit Court. I'd never seen this one before. But it's got a judge with a beard, so. All right. Sharon, I am so sorry. That one is not going to fly with us, unfortunately. I'm telling you, it's a quiet day in courts. If you look around, there's not a ton going on. Is the second Treehouse murder still set for March? It was, Karen, but now we've got the judge that recused himself. And I don't know if that's going to cause a delay on that one or not. Should do Rob's lawn lumber reception. Rumor has it there's going to be a major nerf fight. I can see that. That is really cool. OG Sean White, you gifted 5 memberships. Did I get this before, or you just did this again? Thank you very much, Sean. Either way, thank you for your generosity. Check the burner phone. Got that, BG. The beach looks wonderful. I'm jealous. I'm really jealous. Bring in Frog. We can't do anything in Thurston until about lunchtime because that's when they wake up. They're just all the way over there on the West Coast, so they're really far behind. 12 to 15 weeks. That's how long they think the Brian Koberger case is going to last, which is a long time. I mean, think how long the Murdaugh trial was.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Do we know how long in prison Sarah Boone is facing? It's second-degree murder. I think they can do life without parole on that one in Florida. For real trial date. Okay, Mandy, here's what we have. If the judge here refuses, just flat out refuses and orders and says this is going to trial and you will be the attorney that will take us there, then I think the date we have for Sarah Boone will hold, which is May. Plus, one of the perks about going to see Sarah Boone in court is that Peter Tragos is going to be there.
I'm not a camel.
He's gonna sit in on that trial as well. Miss Christie, happy Super Bowl weekend. Hope your team wins, whichever one that is. Okay. Tell Mandy I'll meet her there. The beach is nice. Let's see. I'm trying to get caught up. Did you ever see the stats I sent by email? Katie, I am so far behind on my emails. Just one second. I think I had it. It was somewhere. I had it, and it's not there now. There it is. Case count. Okay, you sent me the stuff on the Recovery Addict channel as far as the cases. What was the number? Was the other document? Yeah, there we go. Yes, so you made it. Let me see if I can share this one really quickly. Put it over there.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting.
I don't know.
I don't know who won.
It's trying to open. Just one second. We'll see if we can bring this up. Okay, let's go to 3. Here we go. So here is our stats as far as the cases we have followed on this channel. As far as cases dismissed, 1, guilty 25, hung jury 1. We've got a guilty 1 here. Not guilty 4, so a grand total of 32 cases. We've got everybody in here by, I believe, the order that we followed it. Daryl Brooks, Dean Cummings, Matthew Terry, Juan David Ortiz, Aaron Dean, Mark Jensen, Alexander Jackson, Alex Murdaugh, Zachariah Anderson, Gwyneth Paltrow, Letitia Stout, Brandon Castiglione, Timothy Bleefnick, Adam Montgomery, Scott Peterson, Michael Turney, Darren Lopez, Thomas Randolph, the PA Manhunt, Jay Hatch, John DeLay, Hannah Payne, Nathaniel Rowland, Franklin Tucker, Jennifer Crumbly. We've got a speeding ticket biker, the Prius driver, First Amendment case, a Sobsit Nabil Farag, Lori Vallow, Petito lawsuit, and Angela Dantzler. Those ones are ones we followed sort of partially. But it looks like guilty is winning by a long shot. Thank you very much for that, for doing all the homework on that one. So, but it looks like 32 is our grand total. Thank you, Kedia. Okay. The trial for Sarah Boone, the Florida woman accused of having her boyfriend in the suitcase, is now set to begin on May 13th. Yes, that's correct. That's the trial date. There is a pre-trial conference just to make sure everything's on the up and up the week before, a few days before, and that's normal.
I'm not a cat.
Sarah Boone, it's not the trial that's happening today. We're expecting her lawyer to be in court there in Florida, and we're hoping to be able to watch and see what happens. But he's just on the docket. We don't know when. If anyone's able to get a better date on that. Sarah Boone, no updates, whatever. Last thing out there was Peter Tragos. From last week. Back door. All right, that's it. So we can do a couple things. We can jump in and check out some of the small courts we followed yesterday. Obviously, let's see. We've got Cedric Simpson. I think is live already.
I'm not a cat.
Let's see if we can jump to him.
I let your staff know that we need to approach on this matter briefly.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Let's back up just a little bit. How long has he been live? He's been live for a few minutes, about 10 minutes. So
okay, that's beautiful.
Hang on. We need to see what that is. Let's see what's happening here.
All rise. 14A District Court of 21 session. All those having business before the court draw near, the Honorable Judge J. Cedric Simpson presides.
You may be seated.
It's always noisy first thing in the morning in his court. It quiets down and the audio gets better.
Why? Okay, that's beautiful. Can we cut it out? Why are they?
Speak that with my pastor, Your Honor.
It's a long time friend, Your Honor.
Yeah, no, I know. And Reverend Green, it's this is 2 days in a row. I don't know who's letting you out, but is this a PD case?
Yes.
Nothing else is ready?
There potential.
Nothing else is ready? Ms. Barroso, we're operating on Ann Arbor time or what? No, I'm kidding. Whoa. He was gonna come at me.
I'm ready. I'm here. Let's go.
Whoa, okay. All right.
Great. Miss Perrine has lunch plans that she wants to go to.
Yeah, speak of the devil.
I'm just saying you have lunch plans, so you also want to get the show.
Don't miss the forest for the trees.
Judge, I'll be here as long as you need me to be here today.
So you just.
It's my P number.
Yeah, you and Reverend Green are way at the end.
I'm sorry, what case is called there?
I haven't called the case.
Oh, okay.
We were waiting. Are you on Helton?
I am on Hilton. If you don't mind passing that one, I would just like to have a little more conversation with her, but I think we're gonna be ready on that one.
I think we're going to be ready.
Okay. I think we are.
This one is ready.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay. We'll try this one. Court does call the case of the people versus Amanda Wasilewski.
Prosecuting attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
I know I messed that up entirely.
Sam Bernstein, the only ready attorney in the room, Your Honor. Fifth day your name.
Amanda Wasilewski.
I was close. Okay. All right, what are we doing on this?
At this time, it is the date and time set for final settlement conference. The people have made all necessary attempts to ensure that our victims are present today. However, they are not in attendance and we are unable to proceed.
Move to dismiss, Your Honor.
People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That is without prejudice.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great weekend to you and your staff.
Yes, and to you, sir.
Dismissed without prejudice means they can bring the charges again. So they don't get any. The victims are not there. I don't know what the crime was. I mean, it could be anything from abuse all the way up through like, I don't know, like a check fraud or something. But it could be Facebook Marketplace fraud.
Calls the case of the people versus, is it Farida Dubon?
Assistant prosecuting attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
Your Honor, I apologize. That's another one. I think this Barroso and I need to have a more conversation.
She said she doesn't want to talk to you, but okay. I'll pass it.
After this morning, I understand, but thank you.
Court calls the case people versus James Pearson.
Assistant prosecuting attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
Bridget Cruz on behalf of Mr. Pearson, who is approaching.
This is James. This is Cynthia and James. This is our guy.
Good morning, sir. Can you state your name?
James Pearson.
Thank you.
You would have to sign this. This is the rates to trial. That's what you would be waiving.
I don't have my iPad.
I'll write it for you.
All right, go ahead.
Let me sign it now.
Your Honor, this would be a no contest plea. Guilty as charged with a prosecutor's deferred offer. I do.
Okay, you got to slow down. It's going to be a no contest plea as charged?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. We would be requesting a restitution hearing, though. And then I have the police report.
You're requesting a restitution hearing?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Is it, well, I mean, I'll take the plea, but I guess I'm curious as to, there's a dispute as to how much was taken. Is that the issue?
Yes. So Mr. Pearson, post the police complaint, had made a payment to Total Line in the amount of, was it 400?
About that.
400, which he believes to be a restock fee. So our position is he believes that at this time he did pay the restitution amount.
So it's an issue of just payment?
Yes.
Okay. So if there's no proof of payment, then he would admit that the amount isn't in dispute. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct. The amount is $41.99 that Total Line is requesting.
$41.99?
That is correct.
Signed in advice rates for.
Yes, he has.
I think they stole from a Costco or something previously, or that was the allegation.
And may I have him sworn?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? State your name.
James Pearson.
Judge has
Mr. Pearson, it's this court's understanding that you're going to plead no contest to the charge of retail fraud in the third degree. That is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 93 days in jail, $500 fine plus court costs. The fine could be increased if 3 times the value of the property taken. If that's greater than $500, that would become the maximum fine. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you understand what a no contest plea is?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me explain 2 things about a no contest plea just to make sure you understand. First thing about a no contest plea that you need to understand is it means that you're not further desirous or wanting to contest this charge. You understand that? Second thing you need to understand is that for purposes of sentencing, the court will treat you the same as though you had pled guilty. You
It's about
understand
15
that?
minutes old.
Yes. All right. Basis for the no contest plea?
Avoid civil liability.
Sir, to that charge, how do you plead?
Say guilty?
No contest.
Oh, no contest.
You understand that by pleading no contest, you'll not have a trial of any kind.
Yes, sir.
All right. You signed an advice of rights form today, is that correct?
That's what it's.
Are you asking me, sir?
Yes.
Oh, did I sign something? Yes.
Did you sign this advice of rights?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any question regarding any of the rights contained on that form?
No, sir.
Please look at paragraph 5. You'll see a copy on the podium there. Those are your rights which are part of a trial. You understand that by pleading no contest, you'll be giving up those rights as well as all the rights on that form.
Yes, sir.
You understand you're giving up your right to appeal of right?
Yes.
Are you on probation or parole?
No.
Has anybody promised you anything other than has anybody promised you anything to get you to plead? Anybody threaten you or coerce you?
This camera is.
You're doing this voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
Court has been handed and has reviewed Pittsfield Township Department of Public Safety report for their case number 238340. Any objection to the court having reviewed that report?
No objection.
Upon a review of that report, the court does find that there's a sufficient factual basis in which the court could determine the defendant's guilt of this offense. Counsel, have I complied with the court?
Satisfied.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will accept the defendant's plea of no contest to this charge.
Wasn't he on probation?
Defendant is referred to probation for pre-sentence investigation and report and determination of restitution.
I think he was on probation from the last one.
Sentencing in this matter will be
February 28th at 1 p.m.
February 28th, 2024, 1 p.m.
Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting. I do just want to make sure that Ms. Jones didn't say that this was under the prosecutor's deferred.
It is under a prosecutor's deferred. Thank you.
I'll note the file on that. Okay. So we'll see then. I won't set a restitution hearing at this point. If we get to sentencing and there's still an issue regarding restitution, I'll set a restitution hearing at that point from there. But it may be something that probation during the investigation may be able to sort out.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll continue. Good.
Yep. Bring the paper.
Court calls the case People versus Herbert Isom.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
Edward Ruckus on behalf of Herbert Isom.
Herbert Isom. Thank you. What are we doing?
Your Honor, it is the date and time set for a final settlement conference. The people have made all necessary to ensure essential victim and witnesses are present today. However, they are not in attendance and the people are unable to proceed.
I would move to dismiss, Your Honor.
People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That's without prejudice. Thank you, sir. Calls the case of the People versus Martin Wise.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
Edward Ruckus on behalf of Martin Wise.
Martin Weiss. Thank you.
At this time, Your Honor, the people have made all necessary attempts to ensure that our potential victim and witnesses are present. However, they are not in attendance today and the people are able to proceed.
I'd move to dismiss, Your Honor.
People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That's without prejudice.
Thank you.
All these
Thank you.
cases with the witnesses not showing up. Got to wonder why it got this far.
Court does call the case of the People versus Aaron, is it McConan?
The prosecuting attorney, Lori Barroso, on behalf of the people.
Edward Drukas on behalf of the defendant. But not with, Your Honor.
Not here today.
I have been able to reach him. He was aware of this court date.
Bench warrant.
You know, he is pending court matter, not in custody. I attempted to reach out to the public defender to try and get contact information updated, but I have been unsuccessful in his contact.
Bench warrant will issue for defendant's failure to appear. Bond is set in the amount of $25,000. Give a 10% privilege on that. That warrant will issue immediately. Thank you.
Cynthia was not in court. James left by himself.
Court calls the
Don't know
case
how
of the People
Cynthia's
versus Kevin Stevenson.
Assistant prosecuting attorney, Lori Barroso, on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perny on behalf of Ms. Stevenson. Mr. Stevenson, please state your name for the record.
Kevin Deshaun Stevenson.
Thank you. Where do we go? Go ahead.
Date and time set for a final settlement conference. At this time, we have made all necessary attempts to ensure that our essential victim is present. However, she is not in attendance and we are unable to proceed.
Move to dismiss.
People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That's without prejudice.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay,
Yes.
Dismissed. He's in
Court
custody.
calls case People versus Stephanie Julian.
Assistant prosecuting attorney, Lori Barroso, on behalf of the people.
Bridget Cruz on behalf of Ms. Ms. Julian, if you can state your name for the record.
Stephanie Jane Julian.
I let your staff know that we need to approach this matter briefly.
Okay.
Okay, so this is where we started watching. We're about 10, 15 minutes behind. It's private. We'll give it just a minute, so now we can catch up while they're approaching. Hopefully it's not too long. There we go.
I can flip the camera. Oh, you got it? Okay, never mind. My bad. We don't have anything else ready? All right, so he started a whole other conversation with Fink. I don't really want to talk to them. They want to talk to me.
Yes.
It's hard being popular. Where'd Miss? Oh, she's over there talking to Jeff Hall. So in terms of the criminal matters we have, are we at a standstill right now in terms of resolution of any of them? That was a question.
That was a question. It deserves an answer.
I think we may be ready on Maheo.
Why is everything qualified with you?
I'm a lawyer.
Okay, I see.
Queen Swope, thank you very much. I'll keep an eye on that feed as well as we're trying to watch for Sarah Boone.
So are we ready on that one? Maybe ready on that one? Because I'm going to take a break and then talk to the one civil case I have. Go ahead.
He's got a civil case.
Do they want me to call this one?
She wants to go down the list. Just get a break.
Why are we going down the list?
Because the rest of the victims are not here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Is this one included in that group?
That is.
Are you sure?
I thought.
Peter's in court. I don't know if he's cool with that. I would love to stream one of his trials. That would be awesome. Thank you, Julie. The question is, what did the bride think of your water video? She thought it was great. I mean, she was quite open to the idea.
Or that's called the case of People versus Ronaldo. Is it Bajo?
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people. If I may, Your Honor, I don't believe we ever did the waiver.
We did not. Go ahead.
The people waive any potential conflict between this honorable court and the public defender's office, so the people do not believe that conflict exists. The people make this waiver and wish to take out.
Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perry on behalf of Mr. Bajo. Your Honor, the Public Defender's Office likewise does not believe any conflict exists, but we would waive one in avoidance of any doubt.
All right. Let's get him.
That's like a procedural thing they do at the beginning of the trial.
Okay. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Go ahead. What are we doing on this case?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the date and time set for a final settlement conference in this matter. We have made all necessary attempts to ensure that our essential victim is present. However, he is not in attendance and we are unable to proceed.
Move to dismiss, Your Honor.
People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That's without prejudice.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Can somebody tell me if this is normal? Why are so many cases being dismissed with no witnesses?
Court calls the case People versus Delmore Brown.
Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perry on behalf of Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, can you state your name for the record, please?
Delmore Brown. Thank you.
Your Honor, this is the date and time set for a final settlement conference in this matter. We have made all necessary attempts to ensure that our essential victim is present. However, she is not in attendance and we are unable to proceed.
Move to dismiss.
Case is dismissed. People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That's without prejudice.
This can't be the cops not showing up. OG Sean White says, just entered New Jersey, 30 minutes from the location I need to survey. Thank you for keeping me
case People
entertained. Love you,
versus
Scott.
Shakori Davis.
Sean, I read that wrong the first time.
Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
I thought you were taking a survey, like filling out
Good morning,
questionnaire.
Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perry on behalf of Ms. Davis. Ms. Davis, can you unmute? Can you state your name for the record and take your hands out of your pocket?
Shakori Davis.
Judge is not like hands in the pockets.
Your Honor, this is the date and time set for a final settlement in this matter. We have made all necessary attempts to ensure that our essential victim is present. However, they are not in attendance and we are unable to proceed.
Move to dismiss, Your Honor.
People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That's without prejudice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The close-up camera that's on the judge, I believe, is on a Mac. I believe the camera plugs into a Mac.
Is this one? This isn't one I should call.
So because it's an Apple computer, if the judge makes certain hand gestures, it automatically overlays emoji things on top of
Court
it.
does call the case of the People versus.
We saw one yesterday.
Is it Adrina Gatz?
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perry on behalf of Ms. Gatz. Can you state your name for the record, please, Ms. Gatz?
Adrina Gatz.
We got notification that this victim went to a location where Carrie is, I think it's 14-2.
What were redoing on this.
Oh, thanks.
We did receive notification that a party to this action had gone to another court and we're going to come here afterwards, but I don't know if they were rough.
Can we pass this?
Yes, we can pass the matter.
Thank you.
Court calls the case People versus Christopher Gruba, 2 cases.
Tate brother, good luck on the LSAT.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perny on behalf of Mr. Gruba. Mr. Gruba, can you
I
state
think
your name
it's
for the
healthy
record,
to be
please?
a little nervous.
Christopher Gruba.
Thank you, sir.
At this time, Your Honor, this is the date and time set for a final settlement conference in this matter. We have made all necessary attempts in order to ensure our essential victim be present for both cases. However, she is not in attendance and we are unable to proceed.
Move to dismiss in both cases, Your Honor.
People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That's without prejudice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is a lot of driving, Sean. I like to drive, but I don't like driving that long.
Court calls the case People versus Darius Harris.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perny on behalf of Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris, can you state your name for the record, please?
My name is Darius Harris. Darius Harris.
This is the date and time set for a final settlement conference in this matter. At this time, we have made all necessary attempts to ensure that our essential victim is present. However, he is not in attendance and we are unable to proceed. Oh.
Okay. I'll pass the matter then. All right, have a seat.
We'll have a conversation.
So that's 3 passes. Court calls the case People versus Tyrone James.
Cover on the basis. This is Ashley Mungberg here. No.
All right.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso.
Good morning, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perny on behalf of Mr. James. Mr. James, can you state your name for the record, please?
Tyrone Rashawn James.
Thank you.
At this time, Your Honor, is the date and time set for a final settlement conference. We have made all necessary attempts to ensure that our victim is present. However, she is not in attendance and we are unable to proceed.
Move to dismiss, Your Honor.
People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That's without prejudice.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I wonder how many of these cases get refiled.
Court calls the case People versus Stephanie Julian.
These are victims not
Assistant
showing up. So it's
Prosecuting
not
Attorney
police.
Morgan Barroso.
Well, I'm sorry. This is the one we passed.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Have a seat. That was my bad.
My bad. Judge Boyd would say your mistake, not your bad.
Let me call that one. I had it mixed up. That was my mistake. I asked you though, and you acknowledged that that's what I said. I'm not talking to you. Court does call the case People versus Jarrett
I'm
Mark.
not talking to you.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perny on behalf of Mr. Marks. Mr. Marks, can you state your name for the record, please?
Yes, Jared Marks.
At this time, Your Honor, it is the date and time set for a final settlement conference of this matter. We have made all necessary attempts in order to ensure that the victim is present. However, he is not in attendance and we are unable to proceed.
Move to dismiss, Your Honor.
People being unable to proceed, this case is dismissed. That's without prejudice. Thank you. Thank you.
He's just clearing his docket. Just everything's getting dismissed.
Call the case of the People versus Farida Dubon.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people.
This is one that we're not ready on, unfortunately. Sorry.
I'll pass that. Okay, so what do I have?
We're ready on Helton if the court is. Or I'm happy to wait, Judge.
Court calls the case, People versus Anastasia Helton.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of Barroso.
Good morning, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perny on behalf of Ms. Helton. Ms. Helton, if you can state your name for the record, please.
Anastasia Helton.
You know, we have come to a resolution in this matter. Ms. Helton is going to plead no contest to domestic violence under 4A, excuse me.
That is correct.
I think they are going to end early today.
You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
State your name.
Anastasia Helton.
Ma'am, it is this court's understanding you're going to plead no contest to the charge of domestic violence. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days jail, $500 fine plus court costs. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand what a no contest plea is?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Two things about a no contest plea you need to understand. It first of all means that you're not desirous or wanting to contest this charge. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Second thing you need to understand is that for purposes of sentencing, the court will treat you the same as though you had pled guilty. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Basis for the no contest plea?
Lack of recollection.
All right. Ma'am, to that charge, how do you plead?
Lack of recollection.
No contest.
And you understand that by pleading no contest, you'll not have a trial of any kind.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You signed an advice of rights form. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any question regarding any of those rights?
No, Your Honor.
Please look at paragraph 5 on that form. You'll see a copy on the podium. Those are your rights, which are part of a trial. You understand that by pleading no contest, you'll be giving up those rights as well as all the rights on that form.
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand you're giving up your right to appeal of a right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you on probation or parole?
No.
Has anybody promised you anything other than what's been stated here today on the record to get you to plea?
No.
Anybody threaten you or coerce you?
No, Your Honor.
You're doing this voluntarily
Yes, Your Honor.
and of your own free will.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court has been provided Pittsfield Township Department of Public Safety report for their case number 24-4. Any objection to the court reviewing that report?
No, from the people, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Judge is reviewing. Yeah, I'd like to have it. I wish they'd read all these out loud.
Based upon the court's review of that report, the court does find that there's a sufficient factual basis in which the court could determine the defendant's guilt of this offense. Counsel, have I complied with the court?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that a thing? A
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will accept the defendant's plea of no contest to this charge. Defendant is referred to probation for pre-sentence investigation and report. Sentencing in this matter will be
March 4th at 1 p.m.
4th.
Yes.
March 4th, 2024, 1 p.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Bond with its conditions will continue. Thank you.
Yes.
They're ready on this?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, boy. Court calls the case, People versus Jeffrey Grady.
Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of.
Ready, Your Honor. Jeffrey Grady.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jeff on behalf of Jeffrey Grady. Your Honor, today is the time set for a final settlement conference. I know last time at the pre-trial, Mr. Grady was a little late. He takes a bus across town, and I've tried to contact him via phone, and the number is no longer in service. My assumption is he's having some transportation problems. I would ask for
bench warrant.
a brief adjournment, but I will leave it to the court's discretion.
That means bench warrant.
Bench warrant will issue for defendant's failure to appear. Found to send him at a $25,000. Give a 10% privilege on that. That warrant will issue immediate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I approach on the court's matter?
Yes.
Okay, as he approaches, we're going to go and take a different camera feed. We're going to jump to Judge Wolf.
Notice of it being docketed, it's pretty quick. So I truly would expect a ruling from the Court of Appeals. I'd be shocked if it wasn't in the next 30 days. It was a pretty simple issue. Because of how the other trial went,
He's been live for about 10 minutes, so we're going to back up just a tiny
one
bit.
of two things. We'll either
If he takes a break, we'll catch up. Okay. Good morning, Judge Wolf. From Tennessee, I believe, the great state of Tennessee. Let's give him just a minute to get in position, start talking. We'll skip ahead. Oh, he wanders off. Wait for him to come back. Skipping ahead. We don't need all this quiet part. Oh, there he is. He got his robe on. Let's let him do his grand entrance. Here we go. All right. Now we're not going to...
Yeah, it's not on the docket she printed out today.
All right, the Chancery Court, Dixon County is now in session. The Honorable Judge David Wolf presiding. All you have business before this court, for all nine you shall be heard. God bless
Shall
the
be
United
heard.
States, this state, and this court.
God bless the United States, this state, and this court.
Good job, you got it right.
Good job, you got it right, he says. He didn't screw up the intro this time.
Hi, good morning. We're going to start through the docket. Call the first case.
In the matter of Nicholas Toy Ray.
Let me see if I can make this a little bit better, get rid of that high frequency.
Deal with it.
Deborah Bass versus Jimmy Bass.
Ms. Roberts. Mr. Pittman with us.
Yeah, I was just getting my client, Your Honor. She was sitting outside.
Your Honor, let me warn you, our internet has gone out 3 times this morning for about 20 seconds each. So if I pop off the screen, I should be back in about 20 seconds. There's some construction in downtown, and I think that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't mind arguing Mr. Pittman's side if he's.
Yeah, Ms. Roberts, she'll be glad to argue your position. So.
I'm sure she would.
Your Honor, what we're here on is the Bass versus Bass matter. I don't know if Your Honor has a recall. There we go. The Bass versus Bass matter, Your Honor. You've heard this case a number of times. The divorce case is basically on hold at this point in time because the defendant, Mr. Jimmy Bass's 2 daughters, filed a claim in Houston County Chancery Court alleging equitable estoppel and various sundry other legal basis on 2 pieces of property that are owned by the parties that Your Honor has found at this point they're titled in their names and it's marital property. So that has been argued before the Court of Appeals on briefs. Oral arguments were waived and we're awaiting.
Now, I did not hear that case.
Judge Lockhart-Mash.
Right.
Judge Lockhart-Mash ruled and found that, denied the claims of the 2 daughters and found that the property was owned by Mr. and Ms. Bass and that this court had jurisdiction over the division of that, and they appealed that matter. But what we're stuck with now, Your Honor, is that in the sworn testimony of that case, the parties testified, the 2 daughters testified that they were, one was making the mortgage payment that was due on one property, and the other one was making monthly payments on the agreed amount into a bank account in hers and Jimmy Bass's name. And so we have filed a motion, Your Honor, asking for my client to be able to collect rents on those properties from Mr. Bass. At this point in time, Mr. Bass is allowing his daughters to continue to have the exclusive possession. One daughter is actually not even residing in that property. The testimony would be that she's renting it out and getting proceeds from a piece of property that's owned by Debbie Bass and Jimmy Bass. And so we're asking the court to allow Mrs. Bass to receive a portion of a reasonable rent, and we can put on proof as to what that would be. Or in the alternative, Your Honor, we have asked that Mr. Bass produce documentation to show that, number one, the mortgage payment on one property is being made, and that the other property where the parties had to pay off the mortgage when they sold, when Your Honor ordered the sale of their marital residence, there was a secondary lien on one of those properties, and that money is supposedly being deposited into a bank account in the name of Jimmy Bass and his daughter. And we would ask that an accounting of those funds be provided so that we know that there's money out there that's doing it. Secondarily, Your Honor, is even though these daughters profess that they have some ownership interest in this property, they are not paying the property taxes. My client was compelled to go and pay the 2022 property taxes, and then the 2023s are delinquent, are not delinquent, are due and owing. But my client paid the 2022 delinquent taxes, and we requested reimbursement of 1/2 of the amount from Mr. Bass. Mr. Bass, in an attempt to, I think, exert dominion and control over the property, sent a check to Mrs. Bass for a few dollars less than what we had for the total amount. And I have spoken with counsel and said that, we're not going to get into a situation where you're tendering full payment as an admission that he owes the full amount. We won't half. My client owns half the property, she's half liable for it, and we want him to reimburse half of the proceeds. And then we would also like the 2023 taxes to be dispersed out of the monies that are held by the clerk and master. What we would ask is that Mr. Bass on the property taxes be ordered to immediately reimburse my client $680.60, which is 1/2 of the property taxes on 6170 Highway 147 and 275 Day Lane, both located in Houston County. Additionally, Your Honor, we would ask that an order enter that the clerk and master issue checks in the amount of $256 and $381 respectfully, which are the 2023 property taxes owed on those two properties, and make those payable to the Houston County trustee. Allow me to retrieve those and to pay those property taxes on behalf of the parties. And that's what's before the court, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pittman, you want to talk fast while you still have internet?
I'll do that, Your Honor. So the current status of that secondary case is this. I believed, and probably Ms. Roberts believed too, we thought we would probably have an opinion by now because we waived oral argument. We got something some time ago that it had been docketed, which, I mean, my experience when you waive oral argument, when you get that notice of it being docketed, it's pretty quick. So I truly would expect a ruling from the Court of Appeals. I'd be shocked if it wasn't in the next 30 days. It was a pretty simple issue. Because of how the other trial went, it would be my expectation the court will do one of two things. We'll either affirm what the court did or reverse it. I don't think there would be, I can't conceive of the court thinking there's additional proof that needs to be taken. It was pretty sufficient proof put on, and it's really just a legal determination. So I think the court's answer will answer this question. I guess they can always remand it, but I can't envision additional proof that the court thinks needs to be done. So I think we're going to get an answer one way or the other very soon. If the answer is that the properties were held in constructive trust and they belong to these two, the daughters of my client, then all this is kind of moot. And so my position is, and this is what I put in my response, this is premature. If the Court of Appeals rules no, daughters, you're absolutely wrong, court was correct, this is Jimmy Bass and Deborah Bass's property, then at that point, I think we probably have other motions that need to be addressed here, because Ms. Bass through her counsel is probably going to file something to try to get the girls out of the properties and things like that. I think at that point we can address rents and things like that. Here's what I would say to you, that the simplest solution is we leave the status quo until we get an answer to that. And if it turns out the answer is the properties were owned by Mr. and Ms. Bass, and if it turns out that at the final hearing, the delay in the divorce is waiting on the Court of Appeals. Once we have an answer, we can go ahead and set this case for trial. And if the court finds, Court of Appeals says it's Mr. and Ms. Bass's property, and based upon that, I find there's a certain amount of back rent that should be owed to Ms. Bass, This court is holding over $500,000 in cash of the parties' properties. There is sufficient funds to make up anything that could possibly be owed, if anything. More likely what the court would do would be, if that happens, just simply say, we're going to put that in his column and give her an equal amount of money from what would be his money. So, I mean, that's a solution that's an easier solution than these girls or someone paying Ms. Bass money. And then if the Court of Appeals says it's their property, then all of a sudden they've got to file some kind of separate suit against Ms. Bass to get it back. It seems like the simpler solution is that. On property taxes,
Chris, take a deep breath.
It was not my intent to try to create a situation where we could use that against Ms. Bass. My suggested order was, it was just it was a misunderstanding between Mr. Bass and his daughters who was going to pay those taxes. So he cut a check and I sent it to Ms. Roberts. And I'll tell the court what I suggested was, I just want the status quo to get them paid. I'm fine with an order that says, whoever paid that shall not be deemed proof that it's either marital property or it's not marital property. I'm happy to put that in an order that says this is not, if he reimburses everything she paid, that shall not be proof that she doesn't own the property. We were just trying to get them paid to avoid having to have a hearing today. If the court wants us to reimburse half and have the other half paid another way, we'd still want some language that's not proof if the case is remanded for the girls that it's marital property. And so to me, I just wanted the status quo so we could go ahead and wait. We're all just waiting on the Court of Appeals. So that's my position.
Your Honor, my whole scenario is that Mr. Bass, the statement that Mr. Pittman just made, that there was some quote unquote misunderstanding between his children and Mr. Bass, who was going to pay these property taxes, is an issue going back to the credibility of everybody in that previous case that you did not hear. And although I trust Mr. Pittman implicitly with what his word is as an attorney, but he can't speak with Miranda T. and the other daughter as to say, because everything he prefaced when he talked to me, there was a misunderstanding between the daughters and Mr. Bass. So
does that really change anything, whether your version is correct or his version is correct? How does that change the liability of anything?
Well, us accepting the full payment. It was a scenario. What was the pretext between the argument between Mr. Bass and his children, or the disagreement on who was going to pay the taxes?
Well, we'll fix that problem.
So that's what I need, Your Honor. I just need it because, again, I don't want to accept the full payment and then Teague whatever, I forgot the other lady's name, but but them coming in and saying, oh no, we paid those through our dad, because again, the testimony in that case is I think once you go, there's some potentially perjurious issues that have been testified in that case that we'll have to deal with when it comes to.
Well, let's do the simple things first. Number one, we're going to order that Mr. Bass will reimburse Mrs. Bass 1/2 of the amount of the property taxes for 2022, and you can return that check that you received to Mr. Pittman or Mr. Bass. Mr. Bass will issue a check for, if I'm understanding you correctly, $680.50.
60.
Is that correct? Mr. Pittman, I'm sorry. And then the 2023 property taxes will be paid by the clerk and master holding out of the funds that are being held by the clerk's office. And the order that I put down today will indicate that this order does not in any way reflect any finding regarding the actual ownership of those properties or affect in any way the pending litigation out of Houston
So we have
County.
not accomplished anything other than paid the taxes.
My position has been and continues to be that those properties belong to Mr. and Ms. Bass. The corollary action that was filed over in Houston County, I was not hearing anything in that, and as a result of that, it was affirmed by Judge Lockhart Mash, and until the Court of Appeals or some other appellate court rules that was an incorrect finding, that is the finding that this court will honor and will give credit to. So in the meantime, I'm going to order that Mr. Bass provide through Mr. Pittman an accounting of the bank account where those monies that were received from the sale of one of those properties, that will be accounted for so that we can determine how much sales price was, where those funds have been used, if there's any money that's been missing. And Mr. Pittman is correct. There are ample funds in this being held that will, I think, compensate your client for any rent that's due. So I'm not going to order that Mr. Bass has to pay her rent right now, but the issue of rent will be reserved pending the outcome of the appellate court's decision. And as Mr. Pittman pointed out, if they hold that the Basses own that property, then I'm sure there are other issues that are going to have to be addressed. If they reverse Judge Lockhart Nash and render an opinion, then that's one thing. If they reverse and remand, that's another. So those are our three options: affirm, reverse and render an opinion, or a judgment, or reverse and remand. And we'll wait to see what happens with that. But I think it would be more advantageous to just simply reserve the issue of rent until such time as we have that appellate court decision, and that will allow us then to know what the liabilities and obligations are of the parties. So.
And Your Honor, just on one of the properties, there was still a mortgage payment being paid, and one of the daughters was paying that mortgage payment. So not the one where the bank account is the one where our party satisfied the mortgage. Some $56,000 was taken out of their proceeds that should be deposited in this court earning interest, but it's not. So I understand you're going to ask for an account. He has to produce an accounting of that bank account that was testified.
That's what you asked for, correct?
And then also an accounting that the other mortgage is being paid.
And that is the other thing. It does need to make sure that that mortgage is being paid, so we need to have proof of that, continuing proof of that mortgage payment being made on a regular basis.
And again, it's tax liability wise, I just want to make sure I have the documentation so that we're not getting also in an IRS issue.
Yeah, this sounds like an IRS nightmare.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll to submit them to Mr. Pittman for his approval.
Thank you, Mr. Pittman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sounds like the daughters are working themselves out of the will.
Call the next case.
But this courtroom spent all their money on the fancy clerk setup podium
on behalf of
stadium.
Your Honor,
And they use
apologize, I don't
folding
mean to
tables
him,
for
but
the
Mark Odell is the
attorneys.
guardian ad litem in this case, and I haven't seen him, and I was arguing this case, so I haven't. May I ask you to pass it so I can find out where he is? Because I have to.
Don't worry.
Give Mr.
Thank you.
Odell obviously is an essential person here.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Your Honor. That's a restraining order the court has signed. It's here for a hearing. His original order is out sick. There's a gentleman here substituting, and if we can pass it, we'll try to discuss and try to work some things out with the court.
I'll put it on a second call.
Thank you, Judge.
And let's see, is the last case the one that was settled?
Yes, Your Honor.
It did, Your Honor.
Mr. Potter?
I think we can announce it, yes.
You want to announce that? You want to have the parties come on up?
I think that TV screen's got to be like
Parties are coming
85
up.
inches.
Mr. Vanderbilt and I were trying to figure out whose picture that was behind Mr. Pittman in his office, but it looked like elect George McGovern.
George McGovern for president in 1972, I think is what it was. First year I could vote in the presidential elections.
You guys called that in chat. I saw that message.
Mr. Potter wanted to announce it in open court. Basically, we're agreeing that she was going to keep the property, refinance it.
This is a partition action, correct?
Correct. She is going to refinance it within 90 days, give him $65,000 as equity in the home. He'll sign any paperwork to ensure the deed is transferred to her, and then that'll conclude the issues in this court. I don't believe I left anything out.
Your Honor, it is a partition action. Ms. Fordyce is correct. Those terms are correct. This is the case where the parties were divorced in
They did a
2007.
pro se divorce and didn't mention the fact that they had real property. In fact, affirmed that they didn't have real property.
Correct.
And if we'd had a partition hearing, I think the court would have partitioned the property, but there would have been an accounting to do about how the proceeds should be divided. We've agreed that Mr. Wilhite will be paid $65,000 in 90 days. In order to do that, she's going to refinance it, of course, and get his name off the note. Each party's going to pay their own attorney's fees and discretionary costs, and court costs to be equally divided between the parties.
All right. Anything to add to that?
I'd like to, if I could swear them in and make sure.
All right, let's both of you have your, raise your right hand. Let's place you under oath.
Sounds amicable.
Swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Mr. Wilhite, did you hear those terms? You can put your hand down. Did you hear those terms that I announced to the court?
Yes.
Is that how you would like to resolve this case?
Yes.
And you're asking the court to approve those terms?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Chapman, you've heard the terms and conditions. Is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you've heard that both parties have to sign to anything to make this happen.
All right. Thank you. I'm glad you're able to reach an agreement on this case. And the reason we have you announce that and affirm it by under oath is that it'll take a few days to get the order drafted in this case, but I'm going to approve it and it becomes an order of this court today. So effective now, your agreement is a part of the court's order and it will be reflected in the written order, but it is what you should be operating under. So, all right, thank you.
Judge.
Mr. Potter, before you leave, I just need to double check with you about something that's not about this case. Monday, we have a criminal docket call, and there are a number of motions. Included in that was the motion that you filed in that what we're
I'm on that.
referring to. I think you are in the quarter century case in which you had challenged the constitutionality of the conspiracy statute regarding the drug sales. Have you heard anything back from the Attorney General's office to know whether or not
Nothing from them. District Attorney's Office has made me an offer to settle my case, and I'm going to talk to my client this afternoon. But
all I was wondering about is
conspiracy case.
How much in depth we're going to go to it. If as you and I and Ms. Fordyce know, challenging the constitutionality of a statute requires the Attorney General's participation, and therefore I wanted to make sure that
I've heard from them, and I would assume that you couldn't go forward with the hearing without having them.
Well, there are several other motions. I think you have a motion to suppress.
I have a motion to suppress in that case, but tangential to the.
Okay.
I'll let you. Your Honor.
Trying to get an idea of the time frame.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So basically, we're now down to two cases that we're going to pass to allow the parties to see what they can work out.
I'm waiting. I stepped out and called Mr. Odell, and it went straight to voicemail. Now I've texted him, so.
I'm going to step off and let you all see what you can figure out, and we'll come back and handle whatever you got ready.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
All rise.
This court is in recess.
No, court's in recess. We can see if we can jump back to beep beep. That's a nice courtroom. I mean, I like the woodwork. I used to, a long time ago, when I was working 5 jobs at once, I worked for a company called ABC Office for a little while. And it was a terrible company to work for. It was the worst. I was a salesperson. They had like 10 different websites that all sold the same things, and they were pretending to be competitors. So they would like compete with themselves. It was the weirdest thing, and they used like every internet trick in the book to try to trick people to go to one of their websites and get the order. And so we'd have to answer the phone, and depending on what the phone number they called, we'd say it was a different company name, but it's all the same person. And so we'd call and they'd route the numbers different ways. So you'd have competing salespeople trying to outbid each other. It was awful. Hated that job. I really did. But we sold furniture like this, like fancy podiums and like the benches for courtrooms and churches, and that was one of the things we sold. But the company name, please let me just make sure they don't exist anymore. I'm pretty sure they went under before I out this. I might have to just stop talking right now. Let's see. It's okay, that one's gone. Okay, I think that company's gone as well. I just have to make sure all their companies don't exist anymore. So just 1 second. We'll there's LinkedIn. think the company's out of business. Okay, so we sell this furniture, this wood, podiums, pulpits, benches, ornate tables, you name it, frames, just weird stuff. The company name that the founders came up with, because they were selling a lot of it to churches, right? A lot of, a new church would be built and they would need to build a church. They came up with Heavenly Wood. Heavenly Wood was what they came up with. And don't start Googling this, but it was a bad choice. That's all I'll say. It was a bad choice. Oftentimes we would hear from customers who would mess up something in the search and find a result that was completely different than what they were searching for. But Heavenly Wood was a company that I worked for, as well as like ABC Office, and I can't even remember all the company names. There were so many different company names in the same building. And I was like, I loved the tech, right? I loved the tech, and some of the stuff we sold the machines that would program credit cards, okay? And they'd let us demo it, so they'd give us all these samples. I literally had everything I needed to print my own credit cards, like program the magnetic swipes, or the smart chips weren't in there yet, so you just do the swipe, or you could stamp them with a little impression. It was we made ourselves ID cards for various things, all as jokes. I never made a fake ID there. We talked about fake IDs last night, and I'd completely forgotten about this, but this courtroom reminded me. Anyway, we had this technology, and they had like a webcam that was set up. It's like, in their website, it's like, here's our office, and it's like a security camera set up showing a bunch of display with nothing happening. Occasionally someone would walk across back and forth in the office. FBI enters the chat, says Greeners. We sold these devices to like government agencies. Okay, so I know they were making legitimate IDs out of them, but the printers that you print on the ID card and would spit it out with a metal card. We sold everything. Welcome to podcast number 2. We're waiting as long as we have a court feed. We'll talk about this. So we sell this stuff, and we have this webcam. And I went to the owners, because I'm a good employee, right? I like to improve my job. I like to do better. I want to kick the butt of all the other salespeople and sell more. And so I said, look, you've got this webcam, and we sell this high-end, weird equipment that no one would ever need unless you were counting ballots at an election. And you just need to know how many they are, not who voted what. You just need to count the number of pieces of paper. And so we sell a machine that you take a big, huge stack of paper. like 3 foot tall stack of paper, and you stick it in, and it's got this it's called a finger that's on a little rotator with a little air compressor, and it goes, and it just counts the thousands of pages perfectly, exactly. Okay, that's a cool machine. And people need that, right? For, I guess printers and stuff, they need to have their exact right number of pages, and ballots need to be counted. Machines that will trifold and stuff envelopes and just do weird things. But a lot of people looking at it on the website is not enough. And so they'd ask, how does it work? They're asking all these questions. So I go to the boss and I say, look, you've got this camera. Let me do a web link, and I can just share the URL with the camera, and then I can talk to them on the phone. And so I would do this, and I started doing web demonstrations of vacuum sealers. Do you have a vacuum sealer? You should. They're amazing. You can boil water at room temperature in a plastic bag. It's funny stuff. But yes, we sold money counters. We sold those little pen pads, sign signature at the bank things. We sold all those. We did those. You name it. And Heavenly Wood, we sold that as well. But those little the signs on the wall where you put the numbers for the hymnals, we sold those. Anyway, so I do these demonstrations, and I started selling. I was making like massive sales on this equipment, because this equipment, as cool as it is not cheap. Okay, to get one of these things, you're paying. We're talking like laminators that can laminate like a 4 foot wide sign and 55 yards long. Okay, who needs that, right? Nobody, unless you have a 4 foot wide sign, 55 yards long. So I'd learned how to use all these machines, how to make credit cards, how to make ID badges, how to use the vacuum sealers. And I got to play with all this weird equipment that I never will ever use in my life. All the money counters. And that was funny. Doing a demonstration, we kept like petty cash on hand. So we could just, it's like, hey, I need the petty cash bag because I have to demonstrate the money counter. And you can't use like just regular paper in it. You have to use like real money. And the boss would be like watching. He'd never let it out of his sight. Like he didn't trust me with the money counters. Like I'm on camera, literally like 10 different angles. But yeah, I demonstrate all this stuff and the customers would love it because they'd ask a question. I could move the camera around and show them, and this is how it works. And you turn it on, it takes this long to boot up, and I'll do a demonstration. They're like, yeah, what about this? Oh, I'll add that attachment. That's how it works. And here's how the sealer works. Here's the bags. Here's everything. Was making bank. And as soon as I started selling these high-end equipment, okay, most people are selling like binder clips and little, little replacement pews for churches, and they get a little commission. As soon as I start selling like the $26,000 machines, guess what program they did away with? The commissions. Yeah, they teased it like crazy, and then they did away with the commissions. And trust me, the price didn't change. The commission was still worked into the price because we knew all the numbers. The boss, we could see how much we bought it for and how much we were reselling it for. And the boss just decided to keep all the commissions because he just couldn't imagine one of his employees making more than he did that month. And that just was not right. So that job sucked. Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about that because this trial, that was it. That was why. All right, let's see, where are we? Way to ruin it for everyone. We sold like little those binding machines where you can, it's a little lever action binder. If you go into like a elementary school copy room, they would have the ability to punch those little rectangular holes and then have those little expandable clip, those little black plastic clips, this one long piece, and it binds them. We sold those. I had little pieces of the binder punch holes like in my clothes always because we were punching 1 million of those just as demonstrations. This is a story that comes up from admiring the courtroom setup. I do like this courtroom setup. I honestly, of all the courts we watched, that especially the bottom picture there in the just over here, just that one right there. I love that. It looks like one piece of furniture, but clearly it's modular and they've built it and they've got the different stadium levels and things like that. But it fits so well. It's just in such contrast to the rest of the room, which is the bare minimum as far as benches. Just a few of them, and then the folding tables for the attorneys it's like insult to injury. I mean, even the podium they splurged on. It's huge. Or a lectern, I guess. Lectern. I think the setup is heavenly wood-like. I hate the punch binder, so messy. I've had the weirdest jobs, and that was just one of them. And I had that job while I had several other jobs. But one of the jobs that I liked the most, possibly because I never, ever had to see the boss except for the day I quit. The day I got hired and the day I quit are the only days I ever saw the boss or any other employees, for that matter. I was completely on my own, and there was like zero oversight, and I only made a big mistake one time, and that was my friend worked as a little part-time job. He would lock up the bathrooms in the city parks, okay, at night. And you're like, somebody has to do it. Why? Because of vandalism, right? People will go in there, and they also, I think this is mean, but they also didn't want people to sleep in there. So I would drive around from park to park, locking up the bathrooms. Well, of course, the bathrooms are not put right next to the parking lot. They're like put in the center of the park where everyone from all the different baseball diamonds can use it. And so I would have to go in the dark all through the parks, all the way up there. Well, I quickly learned that the sidewalks are wide enough for a motorcycle. And I had a motorcycle. And so I would go around at 10 o'clock at night and just ride through the park, zip right up to the doors, lock the doors, and go. One time I got a phone call from my boss saying that there was somebody inside a restroom on the cell phone with him asking if they could be let out. And so I'm like, oops, I should have checked. Apparently they heard the motorcycle. I say they because it was two somebodies, a male and female, inside the restroom at the time. And I'm not sure who was more embarrassed when we opened that door and let them out. But they made a beeline for their car. So anyway, yes. Well, I think they might have been starting a family greeners. I don't know. Anyway, we gave them some privacy. I mean, that's what they wanted, right? Get a mod, get necessary. I think Scott is broken. Changing diapers. Only two people, both adults. Anyway, that was a fun job. I would drive around. My boss told me that I could use like the gas from the city. I could let them. I could just, the pump that they fill up the police cars with that doesn't have a credit card. You just pull up and fill up. He said I could use that, and I had a work truck as well I could use, but I'd have to drive in and get it. And it took almost as much time to drive in there and open the gates to get the work truck out and make sure there was gas in it and pull it out and lock the gates behind me so nobody stole the rest of the city equipment and then start driving around. And that truck was a beater. It was awful. He gave me the worst one. So instead, I just did motorcycle. Got pulled over one time by the cops who saw me. I think I was riding a wheelie off the sidewalk out of the park because the park had a little jump and it was perfect. So you could pop a wheelie and I'd just ride it out and then just hop on the road and turn. They saw that part and were concerned and pulled me over. And I'm like, look, it's I work for the same guy you do. We're both on the same team here. I'm locking up the parks. Anyway, popping a wheelie, as one does when one is, riding around the parks after curfew. All right. I'm sorry. When it's a slow court day, I don't know what else to talk about, so I tell stories. But anyway, I loved that job. It paid crap. It was the worst. There was one time I did it over the winter, and obviously during the winter I couldn't ride the motorcycle because it was just too cold. I mean, if it was dry, I would, but if it was wet and cold, I couldn't. And then they said, hey, if you want some extra hours, because I get like an hour and a half or 2 hours of pay a night, no matter how fast I did it. And with the motorcycle and figuring out the quickest routes and everything and cutting through the park, I was spending less than 45 minutes and getting 2 hours of pay. And that was a win for me. But they said, if you want more hours, more than the 2 hours, we have a Christmas lights display that every night has to be turned on. We need somebody to just sit there and watch it. And so it was my job to go at night, right as it got dark, and I would go and I would sit there and I would flip the lights. So I would turn on the lights, the whole park, all the lights would come on, little things would start moving, and the music would play, and then I'd sit there in the work truck. And I would do my homework because I was in school at the time as well. And then when I was done, I'd go lock up the parks. So no wonder you hate Christmas lights. Red pen. I had not put those two together, but there's probably a connection. I have seen so many Christmas lights and so many Christmas displays, just over and over and over. That's why this is why I'm a Grinch. We are waiting for Boone, Jenny B. We're hoping to hear from something, and I'm just not sure if we're going to get anything live. I'm not seeing Fox 35 Orlando having anything. I haven't seen WFLA with anything on Sarah Boone. We might just get an update through like at Twitter or something when that happens. But now they have solar timers. Okay, they're on timers, but they still wanted someone to watch the lights to make sure no one would like mess with them. Like run out and kick one of the little, because I say Christmas decorations, but because it was a city, it wasn't Christmas. It just happened to be lights, okay? Because there's the separation of church and state thing, which the city was taking quite seriously, and they wanted to make sure that nobody would sue them for something they had put up on their property, and so they would have like a tunnel of lights the cars would drive through. They would have, little fish and a bear that was like swatting at salmon jumping up a river. It's not very Christmassy at all, but there's like a huge pink whale made of a wire frame and everything is all lit up, and geese that were flying like flapping the wings, and just this was their Christmas lights, right? And so it wasn't Christmas, and then we would turn the speakers on and we would play literal Christmas music, like Muzak, right? Just piped in Christmas songs. So we didn't have the lights, but we had all the Christmas music, and I guess that was okay. Yes, there was a pink whale. I kid you not, the pink whale. If you know, you know. I know somebody here has been there and seen them, and they said, "I've seen that whale. I've seen that display with the bear that swats at the salmon that are jumping up at the waterfall." It's holiday lights. Anyway, somebody had to watch those to make sure nobody stole them and ran away with them. This was in Layton, the thriving metropolis of Layton, Layton, not far from Hill Air Force Base in Utah. Anyway, Dean Sparks says my ears are bleeding. That's normal, right? It is. Let's see if Judge Boyd is live. She should be live here soon. If she's not, I just started playing a game that I didn't want to play. That's not it. I'm playing Badlands. Hit the wrong button. There we go. Beep, 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 back door. Judge Stephanie Boyd. She is not live yet. I'm not sure if she will be. It's the Super Bowl weekend, and I know the judge, Jamie is like, I live there. I live there. My sister lives there. You've seen the lights then? I'm going to have to go there. The light, I'll say this, the light show is impressive, and every year they make it a little bit better. It's freezing cold, and if it snows, it looks beautiful. How is Pickles? Pickles was outside this morning, meowing quite loudly. He killed a lizard last night, but he refused to eat it. But man, we tried to take the lizard away from him before he killed it, and he would not have that, not at all. Okay, Judge Boyd said she won't be back till Monday since all our trials resolved yesterday. This is what I'm thinking. All the judges are thinking, hey, Super Bowl weekend, let's go ahead and just call it early and get out of here. Okay, Judge Simpson is still on break. He might be back. We'll watch for that. Judge Wolf might be back because his clerks and stuff are still sitting there. Is that frozen? Are we looking at a frozen screen right now? This stopped. Oh, it paused. It paused. Hang on. Let's skip ahead and see if anything happens. Nope, it just goes to black. Okay, we're not going to watch that then. That just restarts, I think. No, he did. He is back. This is live. Okay, we're back with Judge Wolf. We won't go anywhere. No update on Boone yet. Richard, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Keep an eye on Twitter. Let me know if you do see something.
Mr. Odelon, can you hear me okay? I can't hear you. Can you address that issue? You're connecting to audio, so we'll wait a moment. Now, if you will unmute your device.
Unmute your device.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Odell, I'm going to show you something. You recognize what this is?
Judge, I can't see it.
It's a 2024
calendar. You can't see this. It is a calendar. It's a book that's designed and has been around for generations of an opportunity to put something on a calendar so that you know where you're supposed to be on any given day. So,
I understand, Judge. I apologize. I put it on the wrong day.
That's all right. We'll deal with it. So obviously you're not driving, correct?
No, sir. I pulled over.
Okay. Then let's deal with where we are on this motion then, Mr. Vandervoort. You had, I think, a motion for a Rule 35 supplemental evaluation.
Judge, I did. This matter, as the court knows, has been pending for some time. I just requested that we get a trial date, maybe out in time to work toward. maybe over into September, October even. If we want to set one sooner, that's fine as well. And additionally, Judge, of course, under Ms. Henson being under a conservatorship, I think it's imperative for everyone maybe to get an update as to her status, her mental health status, and pursuant to the prior Rule 35 evaluation that was ordered, if that could be either supplemented or just, or if a new one is required. I think maybe we could initially get the records that are available and then kind of go from there. Maybe her mental health providers could provide some information for us so the court would feel comfortable moving forward. That's our request.
Ms. Roberts?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with my client yesterday, and she has executed a release. She's being seen on a regular basis through Centerstone in Hohenwald, Tennessee. She has executed a release, and I need to make a formal request to get those records. We would ask that those records, as we have done in the past, be held under seal and that they not be able to be disclosed. Of course, Mr. Vandervoort can discuss the things in those as it's pertinent to the issues in the divorce, but he will not.
Our normal procedure is to have them filed under seal, and counsel can review those records but not make copies, and he's able to discuss with his client anything that might be significant for the case that are contained within the records, but the client will not be allowed to view those records.
Yes, Your Honor, and so we will get that, and then depending on what that is, also previously I had discussed with my client about her going on and filing for disability. She did take my advice and get that done, and she has a hearing on March 29th. On that, I will tell you, I haven't been provided any documentation from her as to the application process, and I will get that and provide that through Mr. Odell about the disability and the status, but hopefully it will be something that I think we need to get a ruling on, because again, it's going to affect the issue of insurability. Obviously, it's going to be our contention in this case that my client is disabled, that she is unable to maintain employment. As Your Honor's aware of her past employment as a nurse practitioner in this area, and serviced this area for a great number of years and treated many of our children in this community, but she is not able to sustain that type at this point in time, and I do not anticipate as an officer of the court that will ever be the situation. And so the issue of permanent long-term alimony is going to be a factor, but the health insurance provision is going to be the major issue. It is incumbent that she maintain insurance so that she can continue to maintain treatment and to be medically compliant and can afford her medication. And so if we get
if
this,
she is approved for Social Security supplemental income through a disability, she'd have access to Medicare and Medicaid, right?
yes, Your Honor, because it wouldn't be the SSI portion. It would be Social Security disability, where she would have availability of the governmental insurance that would cover it. And so then we would just need the cost of supplemental coverage. But right now it's cost prohibitive. You know, she's still married. She's on her husband's insurance. It's integral that she stays on that at this point in time. And if she's denied on her disability, then again, you know, the cost of health insurance is going to be prohibitive. And then I anticipate my pleadings and asking this be maintained as a legal separation rather than a divorce, so that we can maintain insurance on her. That's our critical point that I have to deal with at this point in time. I think Mr. Odell, as the conservator, would agree that it would be cost prohibitive for us to even impossible for us to go out on the marketplace and to obtain coverage for Ms. Ray Henson for the psychiatric disorder that she suffers from. So whether or not we need to, once we get those records, whether or not we need to have another Rule 35 or an update on a evaluation, I think once we look at those records, if Mr. Vandervoort wants to take a contrary position that she is able to work and maintain her own standard of living based on the fact that, of course, during the course of this marriage, it's uncontroverted. She made the most of the money when she was working as a nurse practitioner. She was the primary breadwinner. He worked, and they both they enjoyed a very significant income. But at this point in time, I think the crux of it is if they're going to profess that she's able to go out and to obtain employment and maintain her own standard of living, that's where this Rule 35 is going to have to address.
All right. Mr. Odle, I know you're kind of out of pocket and probably don't have your file with you, but do you have anything to add to what's been said?
No, Your Honor, I concur with what Ms. Roberts said. I inquired about the disability, and I think she accurately described the situation with respect to the disability claim.
Well, let's talk first about going ahead and setting a final hearing date then. For the month of September, I have given the dates of the 4th of September and the 5th of September. I also gave the 23rd of September. These are all Dixon Chancery dates.
Judge, I think the 23rd of September. Is that all day? It will be. I mean, I anticipate that it will be an all-day hearing. And so that was why, instead of doing it back to back on the 5th and the 6th, where we could have those other ones, that we would put it on the 23rd.
Well, what about the 26th if you need an all-day hearing?
26th is acceptable to me.
26th of September?
26th of September.
I can do September the 26th.
That's the day that I had, but if this is going to be an all day, I don't want to take up the entire chance with it. So, Mr. Odle, do you have your calendar? Are you able to see if that date's available?
I can. 26th of September is fine.
We'll show the Dixon, that this will be an all day hearing on September the 26th.
And again, Your Honor, we can, if it comes, hopefully that Mr. Vandervoort and myself and Mr. Odle can come together, and if the issue is not going to be raised as to her disability, then again, it's just going to be a number scenario on what the alimony, division of assets is pretty simple. But again, if it's going to be that they're going to claim that she does have an ability to earn, then it will be all day, I believe.
Well, at this point, I'm trying to decide whether if she's applied for disability insurance, then clearly that's going to require a showing of her competency at the present time anyway. And it seems to me that might avoid having to have a Rule 35 evaluation, because the same issues are going to be presented in that. So why don't we instead argue that Mr. Vandervoort will have access to whatever is produced for that Social Security disability hearing, and if he feels that that's not sufficient indication of Ms. Ray's mental status or competency issue, then he can renew his motion for Rule 35. We'll pass your motion, Mr. Vandervoort, rather than rule on it, and in order that you have access to what's being produced. I'm just trying to avoid the cost of having to have another evaluation done if the same issues are going to be presented at that disability hearing.
So. I'm fine passing it if just including the order that we have access to those records, both for mental health and Social Security.
And again, those limitations are that you'll be able to review that information, but it will not be supplied. A copy will not be supplied to Mr. Henson, but you can discuss with him anything that you think is relevant and salient to the issues in the divorce.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
All right.
Did I prepare an order and circulate it?
Yes.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Molly, we are down to your case.
One more case for him.
We're ready. This is Robert Allen Gervin versus Brittany Leanne Tressler.
This is a civil case. I think think you got some family. The guy in red probably has family there in the tan. They look like they have similar facial characteristics.
You have a Chris Lashley who's with the sheriff's department, and he has entered the waiting room. Is he going to be a witness in this case?
Yes, I have Officer Moss and Officer Lashley.
All right.
Hope it's not a bad one. We'll see what this is.
This is a hearing on the extension of a temporary restraining order that was issued ex parte. And Mr. Hawley, I believe you were the moving party on the obtaining of that restraining order. So you wish to make an opening statement?
I do, Judge.
Is a rule requested?
Judge, rule is requested.
Rule has been requested, so anyone who's going to be a witness in this case must go outside of the courtroom and remain outside of the courtroom until you're called to testify. You are not to discuss the testimony of any other witness with anyone until such time as you have testified. Counsel are under a continuing duty to ensure that the rule is complied with. Now, you now make an opening statement.
Yes, sir. Judge, this is a complaint to establish period. It's been going on for some time. I looked through the file last night since 2021. I think we need to get, at the end of the day, at least a date that maybe we can have a final hearing. The situation is I represent Brittany Tressler. Mr. Gervin has filed this action and requested that his parental rights be established, which they have been. The parties had a temporary hearing back at that time when it originally was filed in front of Judge Lockhart Mash. I was not a part of that with Ms. Tressler. She represented herself. I believe Ms. Hassel represented Mr. Gervin at that time. And there's a temporary parenting plan in place that the parties have kind of been going by. We've had a few issues here and there, and some motions have been filed, and there's some other temporary orders. One that's important in this case, which is in March of last year, was that Mr. Gervin would not allow Elena to be in the presence of his brother. There was some significant psychological issues with the brother and those types of things, and that was pretty well done, I believe, by agreement in an order. I've showed that to his now counsel, and that's part of what the court will see in this hearing. This thing culminated in Ms. Tressler having some concerns about what was going on with the visitation on an afternoon. She was talking with her child and called for a welfare check. Officer Moss, who has left the courtroom, will be testifying. We'll call him first. He works nights and he's with the city, so he needs to get out of here. He's going to testify that he went over there, that the brother was the only one over there, that he was supposed to be babysitting Elena for quite a period of time. The house was a wreck. I've attached the photographs that the officers and he took that were basically just of a apartment that wouldn't be fit for man or beast to live in, to be polite about it. And you can hear from him about what he thought about the apartment when he was walking around and things of that nature. The Officer Lashley, that is going to be the next witness, will testify that when he went to go serve the temporary restraining order on Mr. Gervin, that the apartment looked a little worse than what the photographs showed to the court today, and how they went about with getting the summons signed. And when he left, basically he had to clean off his uniform, and he's going to testify to all of that. This is not a place that a child should be in. And I know he's got some pictures today that will show that he's cleaned up a little bit. Our position is this has been a cyclical situation with Mr. Gervin throughout this entire time, and he's kind of at a low point now. This child needs some protection specifically, for right now. So when the court's ready and after those,
is this a bad one?
I'll call Officer Moss.
Do we need to bail?
Judge, as you know, I don't have the benefit of being Mr. Gervin's lawyer throughout the pendency of this litigation. I'm here today just filling in for Mr. Barnhill, who's sick.
This is why you're right there. Thank you, Natalie. I appreciate that.
With that said, Your Honor, Mr. Hawley's right. The proof is going to show today that Mr. Gervin has some pictures for the court, the exact same pictures that were taken by the officer that entered his apartment that night, that shows a completely different living situation. It shows a cleaned up environment, although not perfect, substantially better than what the pictures allege. Judge, I would argue that the motion itself, coupled with the first exhibit, which is the report from the officer, it makes it sound as though Mr. Gervin is living in something I would describe as AE's newest episode of Hoarders. And it's really not that bad, Your Honor. It's not great. It's not perfect. But I would argue that against Mr. Hawley's assertion that this is not a place fit for a child to be, Your Honor, I think the proof will show that. They seem to think that maybe this is a continuing problem. Maybe there's evidence that it's been like this before. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just here filling in today. But without that showing, Judge, I don't think that continuing this restraining order based on these pictures that have now been kind of resolved would be appropriate. Now, Mr. Hawley has argued that protection of this child is necessary, and I think this leads to an important point, Judge. In the motion itself, Mr. Hawley has argued that this is the appropriate venue for this action, and Judge, I would disagree. They have essentially raised allegations of dependency and neglect. Now, they haven't called them DNA allegations, but they've essentially alleged that the condition that the child was in such state of squalor that it poses a substantial risk of safety to the child. Judge, that is straight up an allegation of dependency and neglect, and I believe that action should have been filed in the juvenile court, which has exclusive and original jurisdiction for DNA matters.
Oh man, Jessica, hope your pup gets
Judge,
better.
If the court's not inclined to transfer the action or find that the venue is not appropriate and we continue with this hearing, I would.
I'm trying to figure out why you guys are talking about boiling water.
The allegations
what did we
are
miss?
now moot based on the conditions of the apartment. I think the motion itself was twofold, if I remember correctly. Temporary restraining order based on two things: a lack of employment, bad living conditions. The proof is going to show today that none of those exist. Those have now been corrected.
Got a weird truck parked right outside that window.
Set aside the restraining order and allow the parties to continue down the path of setting this thing for a final hearing.
Well, let me first address the issue of your argument that the allegations sound in dependency and neglect, and therefore your argument that this should properly have been brought in juvenile court. Once this court has concurrent jurisdiction over matters of paternity actions that are filed, they can file it in juvenile court or they can file it here. Mr. Gervin availed himself of this court's jurisdiction by filing he filed the petition to establish paternity. So he brought the matter in before the court instead of going into juvenile court. Secondly, once the matter is before the court, this court has the jurisdiction over the best interest of the minor child. Every time that there's something that could rise to the level of a dependency and neglect petition in juvenile court that's raised in a divorce court, custody case, or anything else, which happens routinely, if I then have to transfer it to juvenile court, our whole system will become unworkable. Therefore, this court finds that we have jurisdiction over the matter before us, and that the best interest of the minor child, which is the preeminent consideration of this court in any custody case, will allow the court to consider the evidence even if it rises to the level of what could have been brought in juvenile court as a dependency and neglect. For that reason, any oral motion that I would consider to have been made to transfer this to juvenile court is respectfully denied. We will proceed with the hearing on the temporary restraining order. Mr. Hawley, you may call your first witness.
Joe Moss, Your Honor.
Just like that, my survey is complete. I was given the wrong information. I will need another trip here. Oh my goodness. I was only able to do half my survey. The rest is not ready. What a waste. No, for the 4-hour drive time. I would, Sean, I'm going to say you've got to tell your boss, look, you've got to fly me up here next time. That is terrible. 4 hours of driving for 30 minutes of work, and it wasn't even ready for you. Welcome, Kurt. We're doing a little court hopping because it's a quiet day other than that one terrible case with Adam Montgomery.
He works nights. You know.
We're also arguing about.
Well, I don't know how that is. But
about tea kettles and.
It's got to be.
Electric kettles.
Got to be.
Ryan, we stole the electric kettle out of our Airbnb. Then my partner said, you need one of these. You need an Airbnb electric kettle. We like it so much we took it. We have to replace it. We use it for hot chocolate all the time.
You state your full name for the court, please, sir.
Officer Joel Moss with the Dixon Police Department.
And how long have you been with the city of Dixon now? I can't remember.
A little over a year and a half now.
Okay. And how long have you been in law enforcement totally?
To include corrections time, a little over 6 years, 6.5 years, I'm sorry.
So we started at the jail.
Especially during your last year and a half with the city of Dixon, have you had an opportunity to go on calls such as this one where you go out to people's houses and try to resolve situations that are domestic in nature?
On a daily basis, sir.
And would you say you've had a lot of experience in those types of calls at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On January the 27th of, and you put in here 2023 in your report, that should be 2024, correct?
Yes, sir. I apologize. That was a typo. I'll fix that.
Good. On January 27th of this year, 2024, did you have an opportunity to go to the home of Mr. Robert Allen Gervin?
Yes, sir.
And it says here in your report that was around 1,850 hours. What time would that be?
That'd be around 6:50.
Okay. And that was at 9311 Magnum Drive, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And whereabouts in the city of Dixon is that?
Apartment complex down off of Beasley Drive in Cowan.
And Officer Moss, I'm going to give you the floor at this point. Can you describe to the court, from basically start to finish, when you got there, what happened, who did you see, who did you talk to?
Questions are allowed.
And what condition did you find his apartment?
Narrative response.
We need to see my report to reference his exact name, but we got to the apartment. The uncle was there watching the kids, and per dispatch, they had a order saying that he wasn't supposed to have any contact with the kids. And from what he told me, the father left the child, I should say, with the uncle due to wanting to go out and make money.
So I could give you the report out of counsel, I will do that if you need it, but it was John Gervin, was that the name of the uncle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at the time that you got there and you're talking about having to go make money, what was the purpose of him having to make money on that day?
He said he wanted to go, or the father wanted to go out, do DoorDash deliveries so he could get the daughter some spaghetti.
Okay. Were there references that he didn't have money for food at that time?
Yes.
Tell the court then, continue on. What condition did you find the apartment when you were talking to Mr. John Gervin at that time?
Okay, so when we walked in, Mr. Gervin had the stove on because he said his hands were cold and he was trying to heat up the apartment to warm up, and also used the stove to light his cigarettes. It was probably one of the most disgusting apartments I have been into in my law enforcement career. There was trash piled up, probably about close to approximately 4.5, 5 feet high in the closet. The stove had trash all over it and dirt all over the stove, which I did include in my pictures. And also, if you need to see body cam would show just how disgusting it was. There were bugs coming out of coffee mugs.
I'm sorry, bugs coming out of coffee mugs?
Yes.
Okay.
There was a thing of ice cream on the counter that was melted and just sitting on the counter. The daughter's room was trashed. There was trash all over the apartment. And it was definitely unfit for having a child in that apartment based on what the conditions were. And I did make a DCS referral based on my observations.
Okay. Have you heard back from that DCS referral? Have they contacted you in any manner?
No.
Okay. I want to show you some photographs. Some more, we'll hand those to you. Ask you if you recognize those photographs as the pictures you took on that day.
Yes, I do.
Can you pick a couple of those out and describe those for the court as to what you saw and why you took a photograph of these types of scenes in the apartment?
Well, I wanted to document just what we saw. So on this first one, you can see the stove, and also there wasn't a single clean dish anywhere in that apartment. They opened cabinets up and there weren't anything clean. So you can see on the stove is dirty pots, pans. The photo's lousy print, but all the markings on there was just dirt all over that stove. So this one, that was the, just showing all the dirty dishes. Trash piled sky high in the apartment. Trash piled sky high. And we talked to Mr. Gervin about it, and I told him, why don't you clean this place up? And he said, well, it's due to a snowstorm, but that's A, a week prior, and B, there's a dumpster right there in the apartment complex they can just take trash right down to.
How far away was the dumpster from the apartment, would you say?
It'd be walking distance. I couldn't give an exact distance how far it is from there, but easy to walk to.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
So more trash showing on the counters. So this one just showed the limited amount of food that was in the cabinet and how there was a thing of cereal and that was it in the cabinet. So it was very limited on food. And the daughter had told me that she had a pizza and a Dr. Pepper, and that was all she had.
Hearsay, objection.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Judge, I objected to hearsay.
May I respond?
Yes.
Judge, I would first off say this is an 80325 exception to statements, especially if this officer who's set forth the foundation of his ability to recognize these types of things. That's a statement made in a complaint to establish period as a chancery court proceeding about abuse and neglect, of a minor child in this situation.
Overruled.
You can go ahead. Go ahead and finish with your explanation.
Yes, sir. So when we asked her what she had to eat that day, she said some old pizza and she had a Dr. Pepper, and that was all she had to drink. They didn't have any bottled water and apparently she doesn't get water from the sink. So that was all she had that day was one Dr. Pepper.
Excuse me, officer. Are these the same photographs he's referencing that are in the color photographs that you had attached to your motion?
They should be, Judge. When I got these from the city of Dixon, they sent the color ones over, and I didn't get any other color ones, so I've got the black and white ones.
You want to utilize those? I notice his are black and white. It may be helpful.
Yes, sir. I was planning on moving those into the evidence instead of these that he's got in his hands.
Show those, officer, to opposing counsel before we go any further.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No problem. I just think it black and white is a little bit harder to see the details. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. So on this one now, if you can see on the color photo, you can see clearly how much dirt there was on that stove and how it appears it wasn't cleaned in a long period of time. In this one, you can see that container of ice cream that I mentioned that was melted ice cream just sitting on the counter. And this was that trash pile that I was discussing and how high the trash was piled up in the cabinet. Further one showing trash on the counter. Again, they're saying they didn't have money for food, but you can see the empty beer containers and cigarettes on the counter where if that money was spent on food for a child versus on alcohol. This one picture shows the trash on the counter and then the very little food that was in that cabinet, and nothing fit for a child to consume for a day.
This is not professional in the style that he's testifying in, but
this was her bedroom showing
effective.
Just the amount of trash on the floor in the bedroom, and I had to step around everything to be able to even get in that room. You couldn't see the floor due to the amount of trash. Further trash on the floor in her room. And this one, I want to show the garbage bag just sitting there in the bedroom versus being taken out to a dumpster and more trash on the floor.
You said that was in the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, a little bit more detail of how much trash was in that bedroom.
Holly Mack,
So this one shows
thanks for the update on Brandy.
More empty cigarette containers and stuff like that on the just by the TV versus in a trash bag. And with cigarettes, they're easy for her to have been able to get to, and if she'd grabbed one of those, it would be very unhealthy for a child for around all that cigarette smoke. bedroom, the adult bedroom in the apartment, showing how much trash was on the floor in his bedroom, and also slightly cleaner than the child's bedroom where he lived versus where his child lives, which I found that wasn't too conducive to a child. And this one just showing all the cigarette butts and everything else out on the balcony of the apartment.
Does that look like a planter, like for a plant? Is that how you found that?
Yes.
And is that, would you say that's nearly full of just cigarette butts?
Yes. And then empty containers of soda and other trash all piled around it.
Okay. Judge, I would introduce that as collective 1 to the court.
Collective 1.
All right, Officer Moss. So, did Robert Allen Gervin eventually show up at the apartment?
Yes, sir.
And your discussions with Mr. Gervin, where did he tell you that actually he had been? Well, what was his reasoning as to why he wasn't there?
He said he was out door dashing because he didn't have a job, so he was trying to get money for his daughter, or to buy spaghetti for his daughter because he said she wanted spaghetti for dinner.
Okay. Was there anything else that was said between you and Mr. Robert Allen Gervin that was concerning at all?
Well, he told me how he has had brain cancer and was a veteran, so I tried to give him some pointers on where he could go to, including the VA helpline to be able to get help. I also tried to tell him that he needed to clean his apartment up for her and then take pictures so that way he could show the court that it was cleaned up, which I don't know if he's done or not. I'm not privy to that, but so I tried to give him some pointers on what he needed to do to clean up his act.
Okay. And when you were out there, what other officers were there with you?
Sergeant Rapogel and also Patrolman Lefevre.
Okay. And is there any question at all that, when you showed up, that was John Gervin that was watching Elena?
No, we got his ID.
I think it was a restraining order issue is what I
So
thought
at
we
the
were
end of the
getting
day
into.
here, Officer Moss, how did you leave the situation with Elena apparently there at the apartment? Did she get to stay there? Did you make her go somewhere else?
No.
What did y'all do?
Based on the safety for Elena, we called her mom. Her mom responded to the apartment, and we brought her out to her mom. And she was crying as we brought her out because she clearly loves her dad, but it just, we couldn't leave a child in those conditions.
Oh, man.
Very well. All right, that's all I have, Judge.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
cross-examine.
One moment, Judge.
See if he has any questions for this witness. I thought it was a restraining order. Maybe I heard wrong. I think it's the uncle that we're dealing with. The judge has a clearer picture here.
Officer, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name when you first took the stand. Is it Moss?
Yes, sir.
Can you spell that for me?
MOSS.
And you've been with the Dixon Police Department for a year and a half? Is that your
Approximately.
testimony?
No further questions?
What was the reason for going over to Mr. Gervin's apartment that night?
We were dispatched because Lena's mother called saying that Mr. Gervin's uncle, who she said had a no contact order with her child, was watching her child due to text messages she received, and she wanted to check on the status of her child.
So
We're
it was a
in
welfare
Tennessee.
check on the child?
Yes.
At what point in your interaction on this night, I'm sorry, did you say it was January 24th or 27th?
27th.
Friday, January 27th?
I'd have to look on the calendar, but I'm pretty sure that'd be a Friday, yes.
At what point, when you showed up to Mr. Gervin's apartment, were your concerns about the welfare of the child?
The minute we walked in.
Well, hold on a second. Were they alleviated on the report from the mom?
Based on what the mom said, We responded, but we always keep an open mind because we get calls all the time, so we have to go in and investigate for ourselves. So when I got there, the second we saw the inside of that apartment, we had major concerns for the welfare of the child. Regardless of any of the court orders on who can watch a child or not, it was just based on the conditions of the apartment were brought up our primary concerns.
What all did you search when you got in the house?
I didn't search anything in the house. We asked him if we can see if there was food because all the trash on the floor, all the garbage around the apartment that was in plain view from the second we walked in. And we asked him to open the cabinet to show us if there was food or not. So he opened the cabinet. And he also opened the fridge and there was none. Minus those few items I took a picture of.
So you searched the cabinets in the fridge and in general, just the apartment itself as a whole?
I didn't search it. We just walked around the apartment just seeing what the conditions were.
Well,
It wasn't
you
a
asked him to open the
search.
cabinets, right? So you could look inside?
Yes. And he complied.
I have,
Because again, we were trying to check on the welfare of the
looking
child.
at the pictures here,
call that a
as the judge flips
Yes.
through them, it looks dirty,
Yes.
but I have seen much, much, much worse.
We asked him if we could see, and he said yes.
I've been in some places that were
And I noticed there wasn't a picture
Scary.
of the contents of the fridge. What was in the fridge?
The beer.
Um,
There was no food in there for a child, so I didn't even bother taking pictures on the inside.
At any point during your interaction with Mr. John Gervin or Mr. Robert Gervin, did you come to find out when the beer had been purchased?
No, we didn't.
So is
Was
it
it cold?
possible that the beer that you found on the counter that you testified to under direct, I think you said something about maybe their money should have been spent on food, not beer. You don't know when that was purchased, do you?
No, I don't, but he said he was thirsty that morning, so he pulled a beer out to have a drink.
It doesn't say when it's
Robert
purchased.
that said that? Or do you recall?
John's the brother. Your client's Robert, right?
Yes.
Okay, then it'd be John.
What?
Like, regardless, if you're struggling with money, there are things that you can look at that are priorities over alcohol and cigarettes.
Wait, which one's your client?
Well, now who's
That's-
struggling with money, Robert or John?
Both of them.
Okay. Who's spending money on beer and cigarettes?
I don't know which one.
That was good evidence for the defense.
At what point in the interaction did you give Mr. Robert Gervin tips on how to, I think as you put it, clean up his act?
When we started talking to him when he got to the apartment,
Is this before or after the child left with the mom?
before and after.
Wait 1 second, Judge.
I wonder if that's Robert and John in the courtroom.
I'd
I
like
think
to show
that
you some
the
pictures,
gentleman back there
officer,
looks
if I may.
like
And Your Honor,
might
I'm
be
happy
family.
to show these to opposing counsel. I've showed them to him in discussions
All right.
earlier before we started the hearing.
we have a trial with Judge Wolf that's completed, but it was a murder trial. We might be able to go back to. That's pretty much the only other thing we have available out there right now. I'm not sure if you guys want to do that. Don't have much of an appetite for this case that's going on right here. I thought it would be a quick hearing.
Officer Mills, I'm just going to hand you my iPad.
I would like to continue this, meaning that we continue means stay or continue means set off.
All right, that's a black and white of the stove.
Is this the picture you took that you testified to earlier?
We're going to switch.
Is that the one from my report?
You tell me?
It looks similar, but I'm not 100% positive if you took that out of my report or not. So, as it's just a picture on your iPad.
Do you see anything in the corner of that photo here? Did it stamp of any kind?
It says filed February. Yes, then.
So this is the picture that was...
Judge, I would object as far as the stamp of anything and him trying to authenticate it. Obviously, Officer Moss didn't make that stamp, so he has no way to testify to
Officer
it.
can't authenticate the photographs, he can testify as to what they reflect. obviously the photographs
Okay.
will speak for themselves, but.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna bail on this one, and let me see if we can go back and find the murder trial. Thanks, by the way, Mike, for the reminder of that one. You had sent that to me before. It was a little bit spicy. But sadly, there's a kid involved that sounds like neglect is a major concern in this situation, and that is terrible. Hopefully, the parties have gotten help since then. It sounds like the mom was not there at that location, and while she was at the dad's place, it was not sort of fit for a kid, so she was taken by the police and given to her mom. Anyway, we're gonna try to, let's do this. Let's go to lunch. Is that okay? Can we have a little lunch, and then we'll come back. I'll be able to set up with Judge Wolf for the murder trial. This will be up for a while. This is live right now out of Tennessee with Judge Wolf, Judge David Wolf. If you want to watch that during the lunch break, but let's see. We're going to I'm going to go put the kettle on and boil me some water and make some Stevens hot cocoa. Is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to have some lunch. I can see it. Let me see if I can give you a link for those that want to continue watching that. Just one second. I can't redirect you to it, but I can share the link. I'll do that here right as we end. Okay, so first let me say the goodbye part so we can, and then I'll post it. Does that work? Wait. Wrong page, that one. There we go. All right, we're going to go to lunch here in just a minute. So we'll be back this afternoon. We're going to try to watch a murder trial with Judge Wolf. The sad news of the day is that the texting judge case is not going to happen anymore. We still have not heard anything on Sarah Boone's update on the hearing, if her judge got let out or not of his duty there. So we're gonna see where that goes. I'm gonna post this link right now if you want to bail. That is where we were just watching court right here. So thank you all very much. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone to make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again. The texting judge case is not happening. It was dismissed. It will be dismissed because the judge is resigning. Instead of facing a trial that would strip her of her judgeship, she is going to resign. And she went out with a ball of flames because she doxed every single person on her 152-person witness list on a public document. Anyway, so that's not going to happen. Sorry there. We'll keep an eye on Sarah Boone. We'll update you. We'll be back after lunch. It'll probably be in about an hour and a half. But if Sarah Boone happens or anything sooner, we're gonna come back then. So it's 11:30 right now. We're gonna come back at 1. Which will give us an hour and a half. Sorry. I know I was sad too when I found out. Thank you guys. Be good to each other. We'll see you guys later this afternoon.